A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
It was exactly 1 year after I married Tony, our anniversary. I managed to get away for a couple of days from the newspaper where I work. Tony and I were going to celebrate. And it all started out gaily enough. We went back to the same hotel where we spent our honeymoon. The bellboy took care of our luggage and was hanging around for a tip.
You're on the south side. Better breeze this side of the hotel.
Oh, it's very nice, very nice. Here you are.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, Chris, this is a lovely room.
I'm glad you like it, darling.
And where did those flowers come from?
Oh, I guess they came from an admirer.
Oh, Chris, they're beautiful. You're the most thoughtful husband in the whole world, and I love you.
Roses for the first anniversary, orchids for the second, maybe a mink coat for the third.
Well, that sounds nice, but unnecessary. And what about the 4th, 5th, and 6th?
I don't know. Really, darling, we better get ready. I made a reservation for us in the page room. The show goes on in just about, 15 minutes. Here, feel. Think I need a shave?
I think you better. And I have to get my dress out. I hope it isn't too wrinkled.
I got my shaving things out of my suitcase and went into the bathroom. I was just about to lather up when I heard Tony scream. Tony, what is it? What's the matter?
Over there in that room.
Where? What room?
Well, that one across the courtyard. Oh, the light just went out.
What did you see?
It was so clear. I know I saw it.
What? What did you see?
Well, I went to the window to pull down the shade, and I glanced out. You know how you do. And I saw it.
You saw what?
That man was choking the girl.
Darling, what man?
The man in that room. He just kept choking her. It was awful.
All right, sweetheart. Don't be upset.
I never saw anything like it. Chris, do something.
All right, I'll call the police.
The police? Why the police? Maybe there's some explanation for it. Why don't you call the manager?
All right.
I don't understand it. I can't believe it happened, but I know I saw it.
Hello? I want to speak to the manager. While I was talking to the manager, I happened to glance at my wife. She had an expression on her face that I had never seen there before. It was a strangely poignant look, frightened and defeated. I'll never forget it. Carl, come in.
Good evening, Mr. Stewart. I'm Mr. Spencer, the night manager.
Good evening. This is my wife, Mr. Spencer.
How do you do, Mrs. Stewart?
How do you do?
Well, I understand you've had quite a shock. I'm glad you seem to have gotten over it. If you want me to send for the house physician.
Oh, no, thank you. That won't be necessary.
Sure?
Well, my wife said it wasn't necessary.
I'm just taking every precaution. Well, now, will you tell me exactly what happened, Mrs. Stewart?
Well, I went to the window to pull down the shade, and I saw a man.
Where did you see him?
Oh, over there. The room on the corner. The same floor we're on.
That would be room 203. But it's dark.
He turned out the light.
Did he? When did he do that?
A few minutes ago.
Yes, I called you right away.
You don't believe me, do you?
Well, of course, Mrs. Stewart, but you wouldn't expect me to just call the police without looking into this first. I have to make sure. We'll go over there and investigate now. You want to come with me, Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Oh, please.
Honey, we'll only be a minute.
I want to go with you. I don't want to be here alone. Take me with you, Chris.
I looked at my wife, and there it was again. The same fear and self-doubt. We went with Mr. Spencer to room 203. He knocked on the door.
Doesn't seem to be anyone here.
Well, he had plenty of time to get away.
All right, we better have a look inside. Here's my pass key. Come in. There's no one here.
All right.
Is this the room, Mrs. Stewart?
Yes. Yes, this is the room. They were standing right there near the bed.
Well, the room doesn't seem to be a bit disturbed. Everything is in place. Bedspread isn't even wrinkled.
But I tell you, I saw it. I did. I know I did.
Maybe it wasn't this room.
Yes, it was this room. I recognize this chair.
Mr. Spencer, does any other room have a chair like this one?
No, this is the only chair of this kind in the entire hotel. Each of our rooms has its own decorating scheme. But, Mrs. Stewart, perhaps...
Don't look at me that way. I tell you, I saw it.
Yes, of course. Just a moment, Mrs. Stewart. Front desk, please. Hello, this is Mr. Spencer. What is the name of the check-in for room 203 today? I see. And what about yesterday? Thank you. Mr. Stewart, there's been no one in this room for more than 48 hours.
We returned to our room. My wife was very upset. And I had 1,000 questions I wanted to ask, but I didn't. I knew that Tony herself would have to volunteer the information. She would tell me why she was so frightened. She would tell me because she trusted me. I wasn't going to force her to tell me anything. I waited for her to speak.
Chris, do you believe I saw it?
Of course I do. But you know, darling, it is funny the way that room didn't look as if anybody had been in it.
I tell you, I saw it, Chris. I saw it. I can still see it. I've got to have seen it.
What do you mean you've got to have seen it? Couldn't you have imagined it?
Yes. Yes, I may have. Darling, someday I'd like to tell you a story.
What kind of a story?
A sad story. A story you may not want to hear.
Why don't you tell it to me now?
No, not now, but maybe someday.
All right. Why don't you just close your eyes now, sweetheart?
All right, Chris.
She was exhausted, and she fell asleep. I just looked at her. She was so beautiful. I went to the window and looked out. And suddenly, I heard Tony scream.
Chris, where are you?
I'm right here.
Oh, Chris, darling, I saw them again. I saw them so clearly.
Sweetheart, you were dreaming.
No, I wasn't. I can still see them. I can see him choking her. Chris, don't you believe me?
Yes, I believe you.
She had long blonde hair, just
Like you?
Yes, like me. Oh, Chris, I want to get out of here. I want to go home.
That's a very fascinating story you tell me, Mrs. Stewart. You see a man strangle a girl from a hotel window, and now you seem to doubt the evidence of your own senses. Yes, I know there seems to be good reason to doubt. An empty room, no one there. Mrs. Stewart, does your husband know about you?
No, he doesn't, Dr. Barnes.
Why didn't you tell him?
I was afraid to.
You'll have to tell him, Mrs. Stewart. I think that's part of the problem.
You don't believe me either, do you, Dr. Barnes? You don't believe me at all.
Is that you, Tony?
Yes. You're home early.
Yes, I am, honey. Things were slow at the paper today, so I got the day off. Did you go to the city?
I had some shopping to do. And I had lunch with Claire.
Anything else?
Oh, that's all.
Who is Dr. Barnes?
Why do you ask about him?
You saw him at 10:30 this morning. I followed you.
Are you spying on me, Chris?
I heard you make the appointment on the phone this morning before I got up. I had a right to follow you.
Why, I just went for a checkup. I wasn't feeling
You
it.
don't go to a psychiatrist for a checkup, Tony. I don't like secrets.
Do you love me, Chris?
I love the girl I married.
I'm still the same girl.
Are you? The girl I married didn't hide things.
All right, Chris. What do you want to know?
Why did you go to this doctor?
I was his patient 5 years ago.
His patient?
I was in an institution 5 years ago.
What kind of an institution?
A hospital for the mentally sick.
My wife had been mentally ill. Maybe there had been a murder. Maybe she imagined it. There was nothing I could do but call the police.
Good evening. I'm Detective Green, Homicide.
Please, come in. This is my wife, Mrs. Stewart.
How do you do, ma'am?
How do you do?
Oh, what's the matter, Mrs. Stewart?
Nothing.
You look at me as if you know me.
No, I don't know you.
Let me explain, Detective Green.
I've seen you before. You're a reporter on the Examiner.
You must have a good memory. It's been a long time since I covered police news.
Well, it's part of my job. What's up?
Well, a few days ago, my wife and I decided to spend our anniversary at the Towers Hotel. And Tony looked out of our window across the courtyard and saw a man strangle a girl. They were in room 203 of that hotel. But you see, when the manager checked, the room was empty. And it hadn't been occupied for 2 days.
Did you get a good look at the man, Mrs. Stewart?
Pretty good.
Well, what did he look like?
Well, he was a man of about 45. His hair was dark, but rather thin.
Go on.
He was about your height.
5'11". Go on. Any distinguishing features you remember?
Well, he looked a lot like you.
Like me?
Would you turn to the side, please?
Sure.
He looks exactly like you. He is you.
I was amazed when I heard my wife say that Detective Green was the murderer. I didn't know what to think. Was this part of a hallucination? Was Tony ill again? And suddenly, she started to cry.
Oh, Chris. Please don't let her go away, please.
All right, darling. Detective Green,
It's
would you mind?
okay. It's all right. I understand. You'd better get your wife some help as soon as you can.
Oh, please, please.
Okay, Miss Stewart. The case is closed as far as I'm concerned. Good night.
Chris, he was the man. I know he was.
All right, Tony. Try to get some sleep. Finally, Tony went to sleep. I left the house. I walked a few blocks, uptown or downtown. Maybe crosstown. I don't remember which. I didn't know what to believe, and I didn't know what to do. And when I got home and went to our room, Tony wasn't there. I went through the house. Then I found a note in the foyer, dropped against the phone.
Dear Chris, I'm going away. It's not fair for me to stay here. I love you, Tony.
I was just going out the front door to find her when the phone rang. Hello?
Hello, Stewart.
It was my night editor at the Examiner.
Say, listen. Here's the tip I think you've been waiting for.
What do you mean?
They just found the body of a girl in the river about a quarter of a mile from the Towers Hotel.
What did she look like?
Blonde hair, slender, very pretty. She couldn't have been more than 20. And she was strangled.
I'll be right over. And thanks.
Writing that note, Mrs. Stewart, was an act of weakness. If there's anything we've learned, it's that you can't run away. I'm not going to let you stay here tonight.
But where can I go, Dr. Barnes?
Where do you want to go?
Home.
That's where I think you should go. Dr. Barnes speaking. Who? Miss Stewart, it's your husband. Will you speak to him?
Oh, yes. Hello, Chris. What? Are you sure? No. Chris, you're not just saying that because... Well, give me the address. Okay, I'll take a taxi and meet you there. Bye.
What happened, Mrs. Stewart?
They just found the body of a girl. Chris thinks it's the girl I saw. I'm going to meet him at the morgue to identify her for the police.
I could feel my heart skip a beat when I saw Tony. I knew then how much she meant to me. We only had time for a quick kiss, and then we went into the morgue. Detective Green was already there with some men from homicide. I could feel Tony stiffen when she recognized him. I didn't like the way she was acting. And I began to hate Detective Green for the way he inspired fear in my wife. The men stood around like mourners. Detective Green lifted the sheet, and he turned to my wife.
Is this the girl you say was strangled, Mrs. Stewart?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
All right, gentlemen, that's all. Thank you for coming here, Mrs. Stewart.
Take me out of here, Chris.
All right, darling.
Chris, that was the girl.
Then why didn't you say so in there?
Didn't you see the way he was looking at me? She's the girl. I'll never forget her face, never. And he killed her.
You take a cab and go right home.
Well, where are you going?
Never mind. I've got something to do. You go right home.
Here you are. Keep the change.
Thanks, lady.
Good evening.
Detective Green. What do you want?
I've been waiting for you. And no, don't try to go. I have a gun.
What do you want?
I know you recognize Julie. And I know where your husband is. He's talking to the chief. You know what I have to do, don't you?
No, I don't.
You're the only living witness. Why did you tell your husband I was the man you saw?
You were the man I saw. I thought I was out of my mind, but now I know I'm not.
No, you're not. Would have been better for you if you were.
But the manager said the room was empty.
That's right, for 48 hours. But 2 days ago, I stayed in room 203. And I kept the key. And then yesterday, I took 202 with Julie. And made a suite of 202 and 203. Unregistered.
So you were in 203. I did see you.
That's right, room 203. And nobody would have known how a body got into an unregistered room except that Julie raised the shade. And you saw it. It's too bad that you saw what you thought you saw. And it made it such a nuisance for me. Using a linen truck to get her out of the hotel, putting her in my police car, dumping her in the river.
But why did you kill her?
I'm a married man, Mrs. Stewart. Julie got hard to handle. It was too bad, but I just had to get rid of her. And I have to get rid of you, too, Mrs. Stewart. I've met up with a lot of killers in my time. They always have a way of trapping themselves. But that's not going to happen to me. This job's going to be perfect. What's that? Mrs. Stewart, where does the store lead to?
The garden.
Hurry!
Oh, Chris, what happened?
He started shooting first. They had to shoot back. Tony, he's dead.
Oh, Chris. Chris, you won't believe it, but I wasn't scared. I was strangely calm all the time he was talking. The fact that he came here to kill me proved definitely that I was right all the time. I finally knew that I never imagined any of it. I finally knew I was perfectly sane.
And always have been, Doc. Look, we still have our anniversary to celebrate, haven't we? How would you like to go to Paris? I understand it's lovely in the fall.
Suspense. Today, Infanticide, the story of a father and his sons, dramatized by Alan Sloan, from a story written by Eliezer Lipsky.
Catman live on this floor, friend?
Flat down the end of the hall. How do you know?
Thank you.
Yes, sir?
Mrs. Catman, Wilfred Catman?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my name's Veely. I spoke to your husband about insurance on the children.
Oh, that's my son. Wilfred's my son. My daughter-in-law's gone to work. So's Wilfred.
Oh, I see. Well,
But he told me about it. Wilfred told me about it. Mind to come in? I could sign the papers there is to sign.
Yes, ma'am.
Seems a good thing. And she?
Oh, yes, ma'am, sure.
Oh, come in. Don't mind the mess with kids. It's follow and pick up.
Yes, ma'am. Now, I understand there's Willie and Chauncey.
Willie and Chauncey, that's right. Chauncey, he's going on 6, and Willie, he's just past 7.
Uh-huh.
Have them close together, you know, and two's easy to take care of as one.
Yes, ma'am. Now, if you and your son have agreed on this insurance, you can just sign right down there where the little X is.
All righty. Down by the little X, right?
That's it.
I got the arthritis, you know. I don't write so fast.
Yes, ma'am. 3 copies, please, there.
Just seems funny, though, insuring little fellas like that.
And there.
Ain't as if they invented the bug powerful enough to carry them off.
Healthy little guys, eh?
Well, you just look out the window and the big husky little redhead pushing all the others around. That there's Chauncey.
Oh, yeah, I noticed him when I come in the tenement. Takes after his dad, eh? And, which one's Wilfred Jr.?
Oh, he's sleeping. This muggy weather, the asthma takes him in the night sometimes, so we let him sleep late.
Oh.
We all had the asthma. We all outgrew it. Nobody never died of it in the family.
Yeah, Mr. Catman told me about the asthma. It's the humidity these nights bothers him, I guess.
Yes, sir, but he's a real fine boy. Not as big as his little brother, but strong and wiry. Long bones. Come 15, 16, why, he'll just shoot right up.
Sure, that's the way it is. Now, you have Mr. Catman sign those. I take it Mrs. Catman's at work. Oh, yes, you said that.
Yes, she's gone up at 6:30, and you just missed my son. He's off by 8. But you come on in and take a look at Willie. I want you to see he's just a fine, healthy boy. Just the asthma.
Oh, no, I don't think
Now, I'll take you just a minute. He ought to be up and playing in the sunshine anyway. Bad nights, Willie sleeps with his daddy and Mommy. Their room's got the window.
Uh-huh.
Lord, don't you wish you could sleep like a child sleeps?
Yeah.
Willie, rise and shine. Get up, big boy. Come on.
Oh, now let him sleep. I know how my kids get when
Now,
they...
come on, Willie. Grandma got to shake you awake. Willie. Wilfred Jr.
What's the matter? Something wrong?
Boy, stone cold. Cold as the clay. Willie boy. Mister. He's dead. Get the police.
Police? Let me call the doctor. Maybe he's sick.
He's dead. Stone cold dead. Poor baby. Get the law, mister. Tell him she done it this time. Tell him she finally got it done.
What do you mean?
His mother, his own natural mother. Get the law.
In just a moment, we will return for the second act of Suspense. And now, here's a message from the watchmakers of Switzerland.
Swiss vacation. What do you know? Swiss vacation.
Win a fabulous vacation for 2 in beautiful Switzerland. Enter the Swiss Vacation Contest. It's easy. Nothing to buy. Pick up a free entry blank at a jewelry store or other store that sells quality watches. Then in 25 words or less, complete this statement. A quality watch is the best value because there are 1,000 prizes.
First prize, a 21-day vacation for 2 in Switzerland. You fly deluxe Swiss Air both ways. Visit many colorful places. All expenses paid for 2 people, plus $500 extra spending money.
Second, third, and fourth prizes. 15-day Swiss vacations for 2.
Also, 4 mink stoles,
8 Bolex movie cameras and projectors.
12 Hermes typewriters,
160 $100 watches.
812 gala assortments of Tobler Swiss chocolates.
Enter the Swiss Vacation Contest today. Free entry blanks at your jewelry store.
Ed, the father's outside. The dead boy's father, Catman.
Oh. How's he taking it?
I don't think he knows where he is, what he's doing. It was his firstborn, Ed.
Nothing on the mother yet?
No, Ed.
All right, send him in.
Mr. Catman.
Coming.
Mr. Captain, this is Mr. Morgan. I told you about at the precinct. Assistant District Attorney.
I remember. Yes, sir.
Mr. Morgan will want to ask you a few questions about the boy. Investigation, you see.
Wilfred Jr. Willie, yes, sir. Oh, Lord. Dear Lord.
Take a chair, Mr. Catman. You smoke if you like.
Lord. He come and told me the boy's dead, sir.
Yes, that's right. Now, can you pull yourself together for just a few questions?
I guess so. What is it?
Your mother told the insurance man your wife had finally done it, was the way she put it.
My wife?
Yes. Had your wife ever tried to do the boy harm in any way?
No, sir.
Then what was your mother referring to?
Well, there was that time.
What time?
She lost him.
How's that?
She took him out and come home without him. Asked her where Willie was, and she said she left him with her folks. Could I have one of them cigarettes now?
Sure.
She left Willie with her family, you say?
That's right. One night, 2 nights. And I got to missing the little cuss, and I called on the folks to bring him back home. And he wasn't there. I never had him.
Where was he?
She upped and left him on a doorstep with some folks in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Who found him?
After 2-3 days, they took him to the police.
And when was this?
Last week.
Now, wait a minute. How old was Willie? 8?
8, yes, sir. Oh, Lord, I'll just die. Just let me die.
Left him in the neighborhood and he couldn't find his own way home? An 8-year-old?
Told him to stay put.
Your wife told him?
Yes, sir.
But the police returned him. Now, who notified them?
I guess I did.
When was this, last week?
Around then. A little longer, I guess. Around this time last year, seems like.
Mr. Catman, do you know where you are?
Police.
What month is this?
Summertime?
Detective Russell, may I see you for a minute?
Yes, Mr. Morgan.
Call the 25th. Find out if they've got a missing person complaint on the boy or an aided card on his recovery.
Okay, sure.
Now, Mr. Catman.
Mister, I didn't rightly get your name, Mr.
Morgan. Let me ask...
Could I rest up a bit?
You want me to hold off on the questions for a while?
Yes, sir. Is it all right if I pray in here?
Well, Yeah, of course.
I haven't called upon the Lord not once yet to let the little fella not be dead. I'd like to call upon the Lord to let it all not be.
Mr. Catman, get hold of yourself. It's very important. Excuse me. Morgan.
Ed, on the wife losing the boy, they remembered it down the precinct. I talked to the detective who investigated.
Did it happen?
Not exactly the way he told it. She left him with friends, all right, but it was on account of a fight they'd had.
The man and the wife.
Right. Really, the way the wife was afraid he'd harm the boy. By the way, the 25th is everybody I'm looking for. She haven't turned up at work.
What was the fight about?
The boy's father.
What? And what were they fighting about?
That's what the fight was about, Ed. A running fight since the boy was born. Who was the father? Catman isn't.
Mr. Catman, let's get back to Willie. He wasn't your child, you said.
No, sir. I was in the Army. It couldn't have. But it was like he was.
Was what?
My own.
Did you like him?
Not at the first. But when Well, when you put out your finger, this little thing like a hand on a little mama doll with them deep creases to the wrist, you know. When it grabbed hold like it was all there was in the world to hang on to for safety and trust.
Yeah, go on.
You can't help loving it. There isn't a man who wouldn't, no matter whose.
You loved Willie as a baby.
And a boy, too. Oh, dear Lord. Can I see him? I never got to see him yet, sir.
Later. Did he ever know you weren't his daddy?
Not unless he heard us arguing over it, me and her.
How did he feel about you?
Same way. Loved me. I wouldn't trust nobody else.
How do you know that?
Like with the needles. It was the asthma. He had to have the needles.
Injection.
The shots. Yes, sir. And he wouldn't let the doctor. Unless I held him. Only me. He said, I know it won't hurt because my daddy wouldn't let you.
Wouldn't let you what?
Hurt him. I wouldn't let him.
Morgan.
This is Sergeant Bowen, 25th.
Yes, Sergeant.
On a dead boy, we went over the bathroom, Mr. Morgan. The toilet was stopped up, so we took a snake to it.
What did you find?
A necktie.
In a moment, we will return for the third act of Suspense.
Hola, amigo. You want to know about stereo phonographs? Listen to my last bullfight on ordinary stereo.
Ole.
But now, Columbia Stereo 1. There is a corrida de toros. Real lifelike, magnifica. There is such a big difference in stereo phonographs. With most, all you get is a couple of speakers shooting in different directions. But with Columbia, hombre, you get fantastic stereo projection. What it does is to send circles of sound sweeping through every inch of a room. You are surrounded with live sound, live feeling, live passion. Hooray! Hooray! How they cheered me. Ask your Columbia phonograph dealer to demonstrate Stereo 1 by Columbia. Prices start as low as $39.95 for portables, $129.95 for consoles. El picador! Who let that bull out?
He'd have these asthmatic attacks at night, you'd say.
And he'd wheeze and go for breath and couldn't catch it. And he'd cry out, Daddy, I can't breathe. And we'd take him in our bed. We had the window.
Then he'd sleep.
After bed, he'd make this that kind of noise. Drive you crazy.
What could you do?
Wake him up. Willie, I'd say. Willie, you're snorkeling again. Sleep quiet, boy. I'd say, sleep quiet. Man's got to get his rest.
What would he say?
Mostly nothing. And go back to sleep. But sometimes just, Daddy, like that. And go on snorkeling.
All right, now this morning you said he had it pretty severely, the asthma.
Yes, sir.
So your wife gave him a bath?
Yes, sir.
Now, why did she do that?
They said at the clinic, lukewarm baths when it got too much for him, calm him down. Relieve the worry and the fear.
The fear of choking to death.
But that's how it is with the asthma, sir. Calm him down in the bath. So she gave him one when she got up for work.
This was what time did you say?
6 o'clock.
Morgan.
Ed, I got two things. One, the medical examiner's report.
Strangled?
No. The necktie must have been used to tie his wrists. There were the marks.
Cause of death?
He was drowned.
Good heavens. What else?
I was talking to the other boy, Chauncey, when the mother came home. He corroborated what she said. Willie was alive in the bed and making odd noises, so Daddy, that's Catman said, "Come on, Willie. I'm going to give you a bath."
In just a moment, we will return for the concluding act of Suspense.
Meet star Stuart Irwin.
Nothing's worse for an actor than a nasty cold. To feel better quickly, I take wonderful 4-way cold tablets. The fast way to relieve cold distress.
Right. Tests of all the leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting. 4-way starts in minutes to relieve muscular pains, headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
Take my advice. For your next cold, take 4-way cold tablets. The fast way to relieve those cold miseries.
4-way, only 29 cents.
Our program will continue in a moment after a word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Does dandruff dull your hair, leave scalp itchy? Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo and get rid of unsightly dandruff in 3 minutes. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep embarrassing dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair, rub in 1 minute, add water, lather 1 minute, rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch, unsightly dandruff's gone. Fitch can also leave your hair up to 35% brighter. Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo.
Mr. Catman, if you'll take that same chair. Sam, sit there. Huh? Now, Mr. Catman.
Yes, sir? Why doesn't anybody let me see my boy?
Chauncey's too young, Mr. Catman. Maybe later.
Chauncey can take care of himself. I want to see Willie.
Willie's dead.
Oh, Lord. So he is. So he is. Oh, Lord.
Mr. Catman.
Yes, sir.
I show you this tie. I ask you, is this...
Yes, sir. That's my tie.
When did you last see this tie?
Why, I told Willie Daddy was going to bathe him. He was taken bad with the asthma and getting frightened of the breath, and so hard to catch, you know.
What did he say?
He said, all right, and lifted up his arm so as to be carried to the tub. I shut the bathroom door with my elbow. I was carrying Willie, you see.
The tie.
Well, I tied his hands.
What did he say then?
Asked me what for, and I said to play cops and robbers. It was really so there'd be no splashing.
And then?
I gave him a bath.
Did you... Tell me, what did you do then?
I looked at him with his hair all brown and long. Not stick up your red like mine and Chauncey's. That's my real son, Chauncey. He's going on 6, you know.
Yes. You thought of Chauncey?
Chauncey, yeah. And I wished I loved my Chauncey like I loved her, Willie. I mean, Willie isn't my own boy, you know. Did you know that? And there was Willie. And he wasn't mine. And I was caring for him and doing for him. And I was always doing for him and fretting for him. And loving him because he was weak, I guess. He'd have to know someday his daddy wasn't his. And I loved him so. All mother naked. Like a little frog in there. And loving me back. And trusting me. And I knew I didn't love my own child. That's Chauncey, sir. Didn't at all. Not half, nor less. So much as Willie. And it all came to this. It was her son stealing all my love from my own son. It came right down to that. I saw it just as clear. So I told him, duck under. Now wash your hair. Never let him up, I guess.
It was Willie coming between you and your own son that... In what way did Willie come between you? Would you tell us?
Oh, only in my mind. I only wanted to love Chauncey. It was only in my mind Willie came in the way.
But you loved Willie.
Oh, yes, sir, I do. Like it was my own, all my own. And, you know, I was thinking about what you said.
What was that, Mr. Catman?
This is no place for me to see my boy. I don't want you to bring him here or over to the jail. When I get out, I'll see him in the proper way. I'd sure love to take him one of those big yellow pads you're scribbling on. He just loves to draw airplanes and things, you know. I'll see him when I get out.
I'll see about bringing Chauncey around to see you, Mr. Cadman.
And you can have a pad for him.
Oh, you keep getting mixed up. Chauncey's rough and tough. He's like me. He can take care of himself. It's Willie I want to see, that Willie boy. Wilford Jr. He's named after me, but he isn't mine. Did I tell you that? He loves me. He trusts me. I like to bring him home surprises.
Ed, haven't you got enough, can't you?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Catman, go with the man.
I thank you kindly. You've all been most kind.
Ed, what's the charge?
Infanticide.
What'll happen?
He did it.
Yeah?
Would you find him guilty?
Suspense. You've been listening to Infanticide, dramatized for suspense by Alan Sloan, from a story written by Eliezer Lipsky. Heard in tonight's story were Santos Ortega as Mr. Catman, with Nat Poland, Ralph Bell, Ruth McDevitt, Frank Butler, and Danny Ocko. Listen again next week when we return with The Crisis of Dirk Diamond by Sam Locke, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
In each of us, there is a possible murderer, or a man who feeds on murder, revels in the sound of it, the thrill of it. This is the story of a man who murdered for the pleasure of others. The story of Dirk Diamond, written by Sam Locke.
As far as I can see, we don't need the doctor anymore. Done a pretty good job for us so far.
We're in conference. We meet twice a month at night. That's Welby talking. Robert Welby, the syndicate. He okays the murder.
So, gentlemen, I think we've got to get rid of the doctor.
You're right, Bob.
100%.
They're vice president. Nobody.
We see eye to eye on that. I had a feeling we would.
Me? I'm the guy who does the murdering.
So it's settled. The doctor must go.
Right.
Get rid of him.
No. I don't see why we should.
He's outlived his usefulness, Mike.
Let's give him a chance.
We can't take chances, Mike. Not with Dirk Diamond. Not right now.
What do you mean, not right now?
He means that things are not so good with Dirk Diamond right now. So I'm afraid you'll have to kill the doctor.
All right, when?
Oh, I'd like to see it in the papers in about 6 weeks. And no blood this time.
Yeah, that's right. The last 3 have been too messy.
No blood.
Well, it's not going to be easy. The murders are coming too quick.
No, Mike. They're not coming quick enough.
Murder is what the public expects from Dirk Diamond.
And if you don't give the public what it expects, they stop reading Dirk Diamond and go to other comic strips.
They're doing that already.
George, show Bob the cancellations came in this week. The Pittman chain. 10 newspapers all together.
All right, so what? Couple of lousy cancellations. You act like Dirk Diamond. It's finished. 10 years. It's been the top comic strip.
All right,
Now the meeting's over. You wait, Mike.
Okay. I drop you, George. I got some work to clean up, and then I'll go.
All right, Mr. Welby. Get it over with. Dirk Diamond stinks, Go ahead.
Mike, why do you think the strip is going downhill?
If I knew that, we wouldn't be here. Oh, look, Diamond is as good as he ever was.
Mike, people don't read a comic strip like yours for the hero. It's the villain.
But I've given him plenty of villains. Needle Nose and Mosquito and Armless Eve and Midget Mouth and 100 others. Now, it doesn't matter how monstrous I make them. They just don't go. I don't understand.
Well, it's simple, Mike. This is the age of the H-bomb, of rockets to outer space, of science fiction. What you sell is fear, Mike. Monstrosity isn't frightening anymore.
All right, so what am I supposed to do?
Find a fresh approach to fear.
How?
What are you afraid of?
What's that got to do?
Answer my question. What are you afraid of?
You.
What?
Well, you ask me, I'm telling you. I'm afraid of you. Everybody in the syndicate
Let's not degenerate this into a discussion of personal relationships. Stick to the subject. What have you always been afraid of before you met me?
No. Of being poor, I guess.
Oh, that's a worry, Mike. What frightens you? What really frightens you?
Death.
Every fright is a fear of death, but what reminds you most of death? What in your entire life have you been more afraid of than anything?
Freddie.
Freddie? Freddie who?
I don't know. I made him up.
For the strip?
For the strip? No. Well, this was a long time ago when I was just 4 years old. You see, one time I was afraid to sleep alone. But I needed an excuse to call my mother, so I thought if I can just make up something that will frighten me enough to scream, then my mother will have to stay with me.
And that's how you made up Freddie?
It didn't seem like I was making him up. You know, he stepped right into my mind and started walking toward me full of murder, and I screamed. All right, my mother came. After that, whenever I wanted her, I would just think of Freddie and scream. But then one night, I started to think of Freddie when I didn't want to. In the dark, I suddenly seemed to see him giggling, coming closer, his hands out to kill me. And I'd try to keep from screaming, but I'd scream.
What did he look like?
Well, he had a very soft face, and he laughed in a kind of a high giggle, and he was very blond, almost an albino, and he was so heavy. He walked like a fat woman on high heels, and his arms were short, and his hands, they were always sweaty.
That's it. I even like the name Freddie. That is the next villain. Mike?
Now, wait a minute. No, I'm not going to do that. Look, please. I don't want to get started with Freddie. I suppose you think I'm crazy.
No, I understand. You're still susceptible to your childhood fear.
Yes, that's it.
You're afraid of Freddie. Good. But you also told me that you were afraid of me. And that's much more reasonable, old man. Because Freddie only exists in your imagination. But me, I'm right here. And in our 10 years together, you've seen what's happened when I'm crossed, haven't you?
Yes, I have seen.
Now, who are you more afraid of, Michael, old man? Freddie or me,
I'll have the first batch in 2 weeks.
Good boy. Frankly, Mike, Freddie is the only thing that can save Dirk Diamond for you. What's funny?
Well, you didn't ask me how I saved myself from Freddie.
Well, go on.
Well, every time I think of Freddie coming to kill me, I just make up another man who would fight Freddie off for me. And then I was safe. You know what his name was? Dirk Diamond. I made up Dirk Diamond to save me from Freddie, and now Freddie is going to save Dirk Diamond and me.
In just a moment, we will return for the second act of Suspense.
And now here's a message from the watchmakers of Switzerland.
Swiss vacation. Swiss vacation.
Win a fabulous vacation for two in beautiful Switzerland. Enter the Swiss Vacation Contest. It's easy. Nothing to buy. Pick up a free entry blank at a jewelry store or other store that sells quality watches. Then in 25 words or less, complete this statement.
a quality watch is the best value because there are 1,000 prizes.
First prize, a 21-day vacation for two in Switzerland. You fly deluxe Swiss Air both ways. Visit many colorful places. All expenses paid for two people, plus $500 extra spending money.
Second, third, and fourth prizes. 15-day Swiss vacations for two.
Also, 4 mink stoves,
8 Bolex movie cameras and projectors.
12 Hermes typewriters,
160 $100 watches.
812 Gala assortments of Tobler Swiss chocolate.
Enter the Swiss Vacation Contest today. Free entry blanks at your jewelry store.
Yeah?
Mike, we just signed the Hicks McCoy chain. 14 newspapers.
Yeah,
That makes 30 papers this month alone. We've got a lot to thank Freddie for.
Yeah, a lot.
The last 2 months of the strip have been wonderful. What's gotten into you?
Freddie.
What?
Oh, nothing, Mr. Welby. Goodbye. It's not nothing. Everything goes so easily. The panels, the storyline, even the dialogue. And I don't quite understand. Not for a long time. Then one day, my assistant comes into my office with a strip of my drawings.
Mike, something's wrong.
What? What's wrong?
Well, in this panel, you told me you were going to draw Freddie looking frightened.
Yes, that's right.
Well, you have him smiling.
What? Let me see that. Oh, yeah.
You want to change it before I ink it in?
No. Just let me have your eraser. There.
Mike, he's still smiling.
Yeah. Let me have your eraser again.
Funny, it still looks kind of like a smile.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still smiling, isn't he?
Well, do you want him looking frightened?
It doesn't matter what I want. You see, it's what he wants. I have to do what he wants.
Mike, are you all right?
Oh, sure. You ink it in. That's all. Go on, ink it in.
Okay.
Hello. Get me Mr. Welby. Well, find him. It's a matter of life and death, understand? It's life or death. I have to murder Freddie. Within 30 days, he'll be dead. It'll have to be big, otherwise Mr. Welby wouldn't go for it. No two-for-nickel ideas for him. I walked through the entire apartment. Back and forth. Past all the gifts and mementos and trophies I've been given by Dirk Diamond Fan Club from New Jersey to Hong Kong. Clocks and statuettes and loving cups and ashtrays and music boxes like that. With a stiletto encased in it. When the stiletto was taken out of its scabbard, the music box plays. And when it was that, it stops. Ingenious construction. That's what I need now. I need ingenious construction. Because I've got to kill him. Oh, I've got to kill him. Operator, what time is it?
5:45 a.m. Do you wish to place a call?
Yeah, Western Union.
Thank you. Western Union?
Western Union, this is Mike Snyder, Barton Hotel. I would like you to pick up a package at the desk and deliver it to the Welby Syndicate.
Yes, Mr. Snyder.
And you tell the messenger to be very careful with the package.
Yes, Mr. Snyder.
Because there's a body in it.
Yes, Mr. What?
It's a joke, that's all. Just a joke. Oh, I can sleep now. Oh, man, I feel like I've had chains struck to my arms and legs. I feel so light. I feel good. I'm happy. Tired. Oh, what's that? I put that stiletto back. It shouldn't be playing like that unless...
Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Surprise?
It's a nightmare. That's all. It's a nightmare.
A nightmare. this is a fine stiletto, Michael. This is the one you used to kill Mrs. Blueteeth, isn't it?
No, this isn't the...
Yes, Mrs. Blueteeth. It's carved on the blade. A copy of the stiletto used by Dirk Diamond in killing Mrs. Blueteeth, presented admiringly by the Dirk Diamond Club of Toronto. I like this stiletto, Michael. I admire it.
It's a nightmare.
So you're giving me 30 more days to live?
Don't come any closer.
I'm giving you only 1 day.
You put that stiletto down.
And then there isn't going to be any more Michael Snyder.
It's a nightmare. This is all happening in my brain.
Exactly. Even this stiletto in your brain. Now I'm putting it back there. Point first.
It was a nightmare. It was... No, it can't be. Where's the light? Where's the light? Where's that stiletto? It's still there quivering. It's quivering in the headboard of the bed.
Okay, look, Mr. Snyder, I took enough with them fingerprints in the laboratory, but the fingerprints aren't on file here. So the lab's wiring Washington. Special for you, Mr. Snyder. FBI, you know. That's an accident.
When will they get word back?
Oh, any minute. Say, you know, Mr. Snyder, it's funny I should run into you here at the police on the counter. You know, I got 4 boys at home who keep talking about nothing, but how is Dirk Diamond going to get out of this trap Freddie's got him in? Can you tell me now how you're going to get him out of this trap?
I don't know.
Mulligan. Huh? Mr. Snyder, it's the lab. They got word back.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah? So the fingerprints of Michael Snyder...
I'm not into anybody, Miss Bennett. Mike Snyder, we'll put him on. Mike, where have you been all morning? We've been calling... What? Your train leaves in 2 minutes. Where are you going? What do you mean?
Anywhere. No, I'm not out of my mind. I better get away before it's too late. No, I can't explain. No time. Now, look, I sent you 30 days of Dirk Diamond this morning, and you're not using them.
If that's the best you can do, Freddie stays alive.
You understand, Mike?
I never questioned your judgment before, but this time I'm telling you. Now, you put those strips through, because Freddie's got to die. It's him and me. It's him and me!
In a moment, we will return for the third act of Suspense.
Here's Hollywood star Mona Freeman.
Who feels like acting with a miserable cold? I relieve cold distress the fast way with 4-way cold tablets.
Yes, tests of all the leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting. Amazing 4-way starts in minutes to relieve muscular pains and headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
When a cold strikes, do what I do. Take 4-way cold tablets. It's the fast way to relieve nasty cold distress and feel better quickly.
4-way, only 29 cents.
Our program will continue in a moment after word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Had dandruff for years? Now get rid of it in 3 minutes with Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep unsightly dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair, rub in 1 minute. Add water, lather 1 minute. Then rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch. Embarrassing dandruff gone. Fitch can also leave hair up to 35% brighter. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today.
Oh, it feels good. Good to hear those wheels. My troubles are being left far behind, and it feels so good to be surrounded by lots of people. The man on my right is reading a newspaper, and I can see Dirk Diamond. I turn away to the window. That's the first time I've ever turned away from Dirk Diamond, and suddenly I know I've turned away from him forever. What did Welby once said?
You put a lot of yourself into your comic strips, Mike.
Yeah, I put everything.
You know, there's more of me in Dirk Diamond than there is in real life. I have been hiding in a comic strip since I was 4 years old. Hiding from Freddy. But I'm leaving all that behind.
Tickets, please. Tickets.
I am escaping. I'm free.
Tickets, please.
I gave you mine before.
No, Michael.
Oh, sure. Michael?
Yes. So you don't have your ticket?
Go away. Go away.
You won't need a ticket, not where you're going.
Go of my...
You won't need anything where you're going.
He's taking off.
Coming out of it.
Easy, mister.
You were choking yourself. Your own hand was on your neck. It was awful.
You have fit. Listen, stop it, Fred.
Huh?
I gotta get back.
Oh, don't try.
No, I gotta go back. I got to.
All right. Now, the next stop is Buffalo. You can get off and take a train back.
Oh, you shouldn't be moving around. Joe, help him with the shoe.
No. I got to do this myself. All of it. Myself.
I know I promised you a weekend, but this is an emergency. Now stop whining, will you?
Welby?
Huh? Mike? Forget it, Frank. I don't need you. Oh, so you came back. I can't say I'm surprised. Not really.
Listen. Freddy has got to die. Do you understand?
Look, at 3 a.m., the entire staff just left. All of us trying to keep Dirk Diamond going because you go off half-cocked.
He's got to die.
Calling me up from Grand Central that you've got to get away. Well, it's not that easy, Mike. Not for me.
Mr. Welby.
I know. Freddy's got to die. I heard you. Kill him then. But not with this third-rate stuff you tried to palm off on me this morning. You know where that goes.
Oh, no.
Look, Freddy's the best villain you ever had. You want to get rid of him? It's got to be the best killing you ever had. Otherwise, he stays alive.
No.
All right. Start trying, then. Start from, this panel. Dirk has locked himself in his room, and here he's saying...
Yeah. I'm going to kill Freddy. I am going to kill him.
That's right. Now, go ahead from there.
All right. It's nighttime. Dirk lies on a couch, still thinking of his problem. Suddenly in the night, Freddy appears.
From where?
I don't know, but he's there. With a stiletto. Now, he comes over to the couch, and he plunges the knife into Dirk's head.
Uh-huh.
But Dirk awakens, and the stiletto stabs into the couch.
But you said first it went into his head. Now, how did he miss?
I don't know, but he's missed. There's Freddy. And Dirk grabs him by the neck.
No. It's too thin, Mike. Now, look, you might as well face it. You can't kill Freddy off. You're stuck with him. For life, I'm afraid.
No, wait a minute. Now, listen. See, Dirk Diamond has never been more frightened in all his life. You see, he knows it's got to be either Freddy or him. There's no other way.
Right. Now, Mike, I want you to go home.
No. Dirk remembers something then. He first saw Freddy in a dream. Suddenly he realizes.
Oh, no, Mike.
You see, nobody else knows Freddy. The only time Dirk's ever seen him, they've been alone together. Just him and Freddy. And then it comes to him. Freddy only exists in his mind. See, his most dangerous enemy is the nightmare of his brain.
Go on.
Now he knows the one way to get Freddy.
Yeah?
Dirk Diamond will kill himself.
Go on.
See, he knows Freddy only exists as long as he does. And the only way to bring Freddy into reach is by taking his own throat in his hands and choking it.
Good, Mike. Good.
Choking himself.
All right, Mike, stop it. Yeah, Mike, you're crazy. Mike.
You see, it worked. It brought Freddy into reach, and now he has him by the throat. See? Using himself as a decoy, he's caught his nightmare. All his nightmares, all the monsters that imprisoned him by the throat. And how it thrills him to feel Freddy's neck between his hands at last. The mouse playing the cat, Mr. Welby. I'll do a panel of Dirk's face smiling. Oh, now Freddy reaches out for the alarm bell under the desk. And I'll do a strip of this flashing, desperate hand, knocking over the telephone and groping until it reaches the bell under the desk. And with its last dying strength, pushing. And then I'll cut to the bell, ringing in the office of the floor watchman in the lobby and the local precinct. And then the floor watchman, he knocks on the door and he calls out, Mr. Welby! Mr. Welby! But there's no answer. Because the monsters are all dead. And Dirk Diamond,
He's escaped at last. Mr. Welby. Oh, no. Who are you?
Don't you know?
Suspense. You've been listening to The Crisis of Dirk Diamond, written for Suspense by Sam Locke. In a moment, the names of our players and a word about next week's story of Suspense. When you listen for news, don't you want it presented in lively fashion by a man you know you can trust? Of course you do. That's why millions listen regularly to Lowell Thomas, whose news broadcasts are on CBS Radio 5 evenings a week, Monday through Friday. When you want all angles of the news, get them from Lowell Thomas. And when you want all angles on sports, tune in Sports Time, presented every evening except Sunday on CBS Radio. Frank Gifford brings you the high spots and the lowdown on the sports world straight from the horse's mouth. Be in the know on latest news with Lowell Thomas and on sports with Sports Time. Two great services only a network can bring you, and only CBS Radio does. Heard in tonight's story were Bernard Grant as Mike, Louis Van Ruten as Welby, and Eric Dressler as Freddie. Also included in the cast were Ian Martin, Larry Haynes, and Maurice Tarplin. Listen again next week when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. On CBS Radio.
Pays one way or another as we bring you The Easy Victim, written especially for Suspense by Harold Huber.
What are you doing here?
Waiting for you, Mr. Ames.
In my living room? How did you get into my house?
Easy, Mr. Ames, through that French window. It's not hard if you know how. Well, how have you been, Mr. Ames? How are things with you?
I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Breaking in here without so much as... You've no right to...
Of course not. A man's home is his castle. But we haven't heard from you in a while, so Big Tony thought I ought to remind you. And considering what I had to remind you of, this seemed the nicest way. Quiet, private. Nicest for everybody, including you, you see?
Now, look here.
I took a liberty. And I'm sorry I startled you. No, let's let it go at that, eh? It's a lovely place you have here. I've been admiring your taste.
Very flattering. Well, what do you want?
Want? Why, money, Mr. Ames. Only money. We have your IOU for the $10,000 you lost at our dice table. But that's all we have. So how about, forgive my bluntness, paying up?
I can't. Not now. I told Tony.
Sure, a couple of weeks ago you told him.
Well, nothing's changed since then. My business has been terrible. This house is mortgaged to the hilt. I'm short of cash. I've tried to borrow the money, but I just haven't been able to. Can't you understand?
Of course we can. These things happen sometimes to the nicest people. Like you.
Oh, believe me, I hated having to tell you this.
Naturally, you're a gentleman, Mr. A.
Well, it's the last thing I could have anticipated. These reverses were sudden.
And unexpected. I don't doubt that for a minute.
So you see how it is with me.
Sure. But, Mr. Ames, you have to see how it is with us. When we lose, we pay. So when you lose, you pay. It has to be that way, right?
Well, at the time I gave you that IOU...
You expected to be able to redeem it, sure. Only trouble is you haven't. I love that tie you're wearing. It's beautiful.
I need more time.
Well, we can't extend credit too long. It makes a bad precedent. The business we're in, we can't sue. Courts don't recognize gambling debts. So we have to use other methods to demonstrate that money owing to us has to be paid. We regret the necessity, but we have to make it crystal clear.
All right, but you can't get blood out of a stone.
We have no intention of getting blood out of a stone. On the other hand...
Never mind. I don't really need a blueprint.
Good. It's a pleasure to deal with you, Mr. Ames.
But you don't actually want to kill me.
Please, Mr. Ames, that word. It's painful. Let's not say it aloud.
A corpse can never pay. And as long as I'm alive, there's a chance that I can.
I'm inclined to agree, provided.
Provided what?
That you accept a basic principle.
Well, what principle?
Well, when you can't get money any other way, you have to marry it.
Marry it?
Mm-hmm. You're a bachelor, handsome, excellent background, impressive personality. Marry it, Mr. Ames.
Just like that?
Look, Mr. Ames, we know you frequently spent holidays at the Bell Point Hotel. The Bell Point's famous as a place where people find romance. It's full of widows, comfortably endowed, who want to marry again. Come there in hope of finding a husband.
Now, wait a minute.
We also know you spent a lot of time with a lady you met up there. A widow named Ella Jason. For instance...
Mrs. Jason and I are just acquaintances. I just happened to meet her at the hotel. Fine for an occasional date, but that's all.
She's very attractive, not a bit hard to
We're
date.
just friends, I tell you. I'm not in love with her. Besides, I don't want to marry.
You don't have a choice.
But to marry someone who means nothing to me except... Oh, no. Even if I could do as you say, once I'd paid you, I could never go on living with a wife I don't love. I'd have to get free to get rid of her if necessary.
Please, Mr. Ames, again, I beg of you, do not mention that painful word aloud. It's better I don't hear what you have in mind. But, Mr. Ames, we're realists. We do what we must, even when it's painful. So once you pay us, if you feel a terrible necessity to get rid of her, remember, necessity is the mother of invention.
Hello? Yes, this is Bungalow D. Oh, this is Mrs. Jason. What? Mr. Ames, what a delightful surprise. Well, I'm fine, thank you. Where are you calling from? Here at the hotel? How wonderful. Oh, of course, Mr. Ames. Oh, Mr. Ames, really? Oh, please, Mr. Ames, you almost embarrassed me. I mean, after all, it is a switchboard. Well, yes, I did miss you. Mm-hmm. You did too, really? Well, of course, I'm glad. Oh, dinner tonight? Well, I did have a tentative appointment. I really shouldn't. Well, no, I'd never in the world want you to feel that way. Well, we can't have that, can we? Well, I'll make an excuse. The tentative appointment is very nice, you'll understand. But just to be sure we don't hurt his feelings, let's dine away from here tonight. No. You decide on the place, Mr. Evans. The time, whatever's agreeable to you. You decide, Mr. Ames, and I'll be ready. Dinner was delicious. I thank you so much, Mr. Ames.
Oh, I thank you.
You ordered so well, so expertly.
Oh, you really think so?
Oh, yes. And it's so nice, positively luxurious for me to be able to let someone else take responsibility, even if it's just a matter of ordering dinner.
Well, this is a very good place. It's hard to make a mistake here.
Oh, if I'd ordered, I'm sure I'd have made mistakes. I always left such things to Henry. Henry was wonderful, so efficient. I simply relied upon him for everything.
Your husband?
Yes, my husband. Used to tease me, very, very gently, because I was so dependent, making any kind of decision flustered me. Must seem silly to a man like you. You're so poised, so obviously competent, like Henry. In fact, in many ways, you remind me of him. Me, I'm even afraid of the waiter. Isn't that ridiculous?
Well, tell me, you're not as shy in handling real business affairs as you are in ordering from a waiter.
Oh, I'm worse. I'm always bewildered.
Well, in that case, I hope Henry left you a well-ordered estate.
Perfectly. Henry was so confident.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
But there are occasional business decisions.
Well, to be expected. Any estate, any substantial estate, it is fairly substantial, I imagine.
Yes.
Well, then you must expect an occasional problem. But there must be some member of your family who can advise you.
Oh, I've almost no family, just my nephew Herbert. I'm quite alone. Oh, now, really, Mr. Ames, I'm appalled. You'll soon be convinced I'm a total featherhead and a bore, and you'll never want to see me again.
Oh, Mrs. Jason, you can't begin to know how wrong you are. In fact, you couldn't be wronger if you tried.
Well, that's very sweet. But, now, another word about me. I want to hear about you. What kept you in town last week?
Business?
Oh, dear. Don't tell me details. I wouldn't understand. Well, was it successful?
A decision was made. A decision involving method of procedure. At this point, I'm convinced the method will be very, very successful, Mrs. Jason.
Well, we're being positively stuffy. Call me Ella.
Thank you, Ella.
You're welcome, Arthur.
I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing with a beautiful woman. Will you dance with me, Ella?
Oh, I'd love to. Tonight I feel very much like dancing, Arthur.
And I say that you are making a mistake, Aunt Ella, a bad mistake. You're going into this without...
But you don't know what you're saying. I assure you I am not a child. I know what I'm doing.
No, you don't know enough about him.
I know all I need to know,
Now, look,
Herbert.
ever since you phoned me, I have been worried. Would I have rushed here to the hotel? Would I interfere like this if I weren't convinced that you've been hasty?
I'm sure you mean well, Herbert, but you're very young. Bear in mind, I'm 10 years older than you, and I am not altogether without experience.
Look,
dear.
I understand, but I have been doing some research on Mr. Ames.
Research? You sound so businesslike.
No, please,
Oh,
please.
All right, it's charming. You are so young.
Will you listen to me? I found out things that you should know.
No, Herbert, that will do. You couldn't have found out anything of real importance that I don't know. A woman's instinct, Herbert. In a matter like this, trust a woman's instinct.
But I prefer facts.
Arthur Ames and I will be married tomorrow. That is a fact. And you'll see, dear, everything will be perfect.
Aunt Ella, I am surprised at you. You can't afford to be wrong in a marriage.
And I'm not. So if you'll
For all you know, if he's what I think he is, he may be dangerous to you.
Dangerous to me? Oh, Herbert, my dear, dangerous. Really. Really, darling, that is funny. That is positively funny.
But you shouldn't come here to the house.
I couldn't help it. You didn't come to us.
But I haven't got the money yet. You've got to be patient.
Mr. Ames, you're kicking that word to death. What do you think we've been?
Look, I tell you, you've got to leave before my wife comes in.
Mr. Ames, I like you very much. I hate to have to tell you, but Big Tony is getting weary of waiting. So you see...
No, I'll manage to pay somehow. A little more time. But Mrs. Ames will be in soon.
You're telling me she's the suspicious type?
Well, of course not. You know better.
So why so worried about her seeing me? You think of something to say. Now, you're sure she won't give you the money?
I can't ask her for it. I don't know how to get it.
Mr. Ames, you're in trouble. Unless...
Yes.
Unless you can find a way to make Mrs. Ames pay off. Say, you're not getting a conscience about her, are you?
Are you being funny? What do you expect me to do?
Work it out. We want that money a week from today. Or at least a guarantee that the money will be paid. A believable guarantee. If we don't...
Stop it! I'm trying.
Well, you can't imagine how bad I feel to tell you that that's not enough. Think, Mr. Ames, think. Find a way. You can't just try. You have to succeed. And I mean have to.
Policy, dear? Insurance policy?
Yes, it's life insurance, darling. It's an excellent new type of very attractive with double indemnity for accidental death.
Oh, darling, it sounds so grim, so depressing. Must we talk about this thing?
Well, I thought I should explain it to you. I'd like to have it signed up today.
Oh, don't explain. I believe I understand. You see, I'm not quite as innocent as you may think.
I beg your pardon?
I know some things, and I see right through you.
Ella, really?
We've been married so short a time. I was so carefree, and now so unexpectedly...
Ella, I don't understand.
Don't fool me for a minute. Men like you are all alike. Your minds work overtime, thinking of ways and means to provide security and protection for your wives. You're such a dear, Arthur. So thoughtful.
Oh, well, for a moment. Yes, of course. I simply feel, darling, that...
No more talk of death, darling. Do whatever you think is right. I couldn't advise you anyway.
Well, you see, this particular policy is a family one. Each of us becomes the beneficiary of the other. There are 4 pages of small print, which I'll explain.
Darling, don't bother. I'll leave it to you. Just tell me what we have to sign, and we'll sign it.
In just a moment, we will return for the second act of Suspense.
Hi, partners. I'm going to explain the difference between ordinary stereo phonographs and Columbia Stereo 1. Listen to an oil well on ordinary stereo. Now listen to it on Columbia Stereo 1. Man, there's a real 1,000-barrel-a-day sound. The difference is Columbia's stupendous stereo projection, not just a couple of speakers shooting in different directions. Columbia gives you the real thing, fills every inch of the room with all the sound and feeling of a live performance. And I mean a Texas-sized room. Man, ain't that the prettiest money-making sound? Get down to your Columbia phonograph dealer and ask. Demand to hear Stereo 1 by Columbia. Why, they start as low as $39.95 for portables, $129.95 for consoles. Somebody cap that well. We're losing a fortune.
No, dear, I've never been on top of Mount High Point.
Oh, it's a magnificent view. You'll love it.
How high is it?
Oh, a couple of 1,000 feet.
Oh, don't laugh at me, but I'm a little bit afraid.
Afraid?
Well, of height. Is it perfectly safe?
Oh, I'll be with you, dear. I'll take care of you.
There's a railing or something?
Well, not at the spot I have in mind, but don't worry.
Oh, you think I'm a sissy.
Oh, no, not at all. But you've got to see this view by moonlight, I insist.
Yes.
See? We're almost at the top.
Nobody else in sight. So deserted.
No, most people don't come to this particular spot. That's why I like it.
And you want to share it with me. I understand.
Well, end of the road. Now we walk a few feet. And then, then you'll see. This way.
Really? I can hardly stand up.
I'll take your arm, darling. There we are. Now, just a few steps to the edge.
Oh, Arthur, we're too close.
I'm holding you, darling.
No.
Here, right at the edge. That's where the view is.
No, I'm slipping.
Don't grab me like that, dear. I've got you. I've got you.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, we almost fell. Oh, come on, quickly. Let's get back to the car. Arthur, do you realize... When I think of what you... Come on. Get into the car, please, and get us away from here.
Ella, believe me, I had a good grip on you.
I know. If I'd gone over the edge, you'd have fallen, too. Arthur, dearest, you could have been killed.
Darling.
Such a racket, dear. What in the world are you doing?
Oh, I'm refitting the top steps on the cellar stair. They were loose. Oh, I'm sorry for the noise. I didn't expect you in so soon.
I finished shopping early. Oh, you should have called the handyman, dear. Look.
Oh.
Darling, something's wrong. You look so strange.
Really? Well, anyway, it's finished. Steps finished. Oh, my back.
Now, you see, you shouldn't have done this. Unaccustomed type of activity, even for an athlete like you.
Yes. Really hurts. I got to sit a minute.
Oh, and I teach you. Is it very bad?
Kind of. Ella, I left a sweater down there. Would you mind?
No, not a bit, dear. I'll run down. Arthur! you did. You finished the top step and you forgot to put in the next two.
I did?
Well, aren't we lucky I saw that in time? I could have fallen down and broken my neck. Oh, Arthur, don't look so stricken. I'm not hurt. Everybody makes mistakes.
In a moment, we will return for the third act of Suspense.
Here's Hollywood star Mona Freeman.
Who feels like acting with a miserable cold? I relieve cold distress the fast way with 4-way cold tablets.
Yes, tests of all the leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting. Amazing 4-way starts in minutes to relieve muscular pains and headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
When a cold strikes, do what I do. Take 4-way cold tablets. It's the fast way to relieve nasty cold distress and feel better quickly.
4-way, only 29 cents.
Our program will continue in a moment after word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Had dandruff for years? Now get rid of it in 3 minutes with Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep unsightly dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair, rub in 1 minute. Add water, lather 1 minute. Then rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch. Embarrassing dandruff gone. Fitch can also leave hair up to 35% brighter. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today.
And so I phoned you this afternoon, darling, as soon as I got word the cabin at Big Lake was available. I hope this hasn't rushed you too much.
No, not too much, dear. You said you wanted us to leave right after dinner. You gave me plenty of time. Want coffee, dear?
Thanks, yes. You remembered to tell Clarabelle that we wouldn't need her up there?
I let her go right after you called. I told her she'd have 3 days off.
Good. More fun to rough it ourselves in such a place.
Is the lake really so beautiful?
Oh, yes, it's magnificent. Perfect, in fact.
And you said we'll have the whole area to ourselves?
Mm-hmm. There's absolutely nobody up there right now. That's why we get the off-season rate, including the use of the boating equipment.
Sounds ideal.
Oh, you can't imagine what it's like in a canoe in the middle of that lake. First thing tomorrow morning, you'll find out. Well, are we about ready? Long drive in the dark.
Arthur, dear, you didn't have to pay in advance for the cabin.
Why, no.
Not even a deposit?
No, but, well, I have to pay eventually. What difference does it make?
Thrift, darling, thrift. See, I don't intend to go there alone.
Alone? Well, what is this? We're both going there.
No, dear. No, you're not going anywhere.
What?
Oh, my poor dear Arthur, you're such an amateur. So inept and so foolishly brave. You persist in challenging professionals in their own field. First as a gambler.
Ella, I don't know what you mean.
Oh, darling, I knew about that from the beginning. And then as a murderer, really, dear, it's pathetic. Those sadly obvious attempts, a cliff, a staircase, and now a canoe.
Ella, no.
And above all, to choose as your first victim, of all people, me, darling. You're my fifth.
Ella, what are you saying?
That inevitable policy. Both of us insured. Don't you see? I knew I could count on you for that.
Ella, stop this. Stop it.
Don't try to get not anymore. Not after drinking that coffee I prepared so carefully for you. It's too late. Henry couldn't get out, and before him Clarence, and before him William, etc., dear, see?
I can't kill you.
Oh, dear, and you never could have. Just to think my nephew Herbert, who should by this time have known better, thought you were a mistake.
You monster.
Sir, that's not like you. Why, it's almost rude. You know I've no head for business. And a lady must live.
Suspense. You've been listening to The Easy Victim, written for Suspense by Harold Huber. Heard in tonight's story were Elspeth Eric as Ella, Paul McGrath as Art, Bob Reddick as Herbert, and Leon Janney as Don. Produced and directed by Paul Roberts. Listen again next week when we return with ReEntry, a story of man's first flight into space. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. On CBS
WROW Radio 59. Next.
And now, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. What will man's first flight into space be like? Will he be able to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere? And how will he feel? Well, we don't know for sure, so this is only imagination as we bring you George Bamber's Flight of Fancy, ReEntry.
Oh, brother, this miserable cold and my sinuses.
Haven't you heard about Dristan? Dristan decongestant tablets not only help drain all 8 sinus cavities, critical areas of cold's infection, but circulating through the blood, Dristan reaches all congested areas. In one fast-acting, uncoated 3-layer tablet, Dristan, for the first time, combines a decongestant to shrink all swollen membranes, relieve pressure and pain, an exclusive anti-allergen to help keep breathing passages dry and clear, pain relievers to ease body aches, reduce fever, vitamin C to help build body resistance. This is Dristan. Today, Dristan is widely imitated, but the exclusive Dristan formula cannot be duplicated. For real relief from cold's misery and sinus congestion, there is nothing like Dristan decongestant tablets.
I don't think I'll ever get used to getting up and fixing your breakfast at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, a lot of men get up and go to work at 4:30 in the morning.
Want some more eggs? Howard, would you like some more eggs?
Oh, no. This is fine.
Today's the day, isn't it?
What day?
Today's the day you take it up, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose so. If everything checks out all right, there's no reason why not.
It's silly, but I keep wanting to ask you if the ship's all right. If it can really go up that high and withstand the heat and shock of the plunge back to Earth. Oh, I know it is, or else you wouldn't take it up, but I just want to hear you say everything's going to be all right.
Aaron, mechanically, the X-15 has been engineered to perfection. It's passed every test. Metallurgical, wind tunnel, powerless flight. In theory, we've flown it 1,000,000 times. On the ground, we've taken it as far as we can go, and now we have to take it up.
And see once and for all if it's possible for a man to ride a skyrocket. And if he can he steer it back to Earth without it falling apart from heat and shock?
Aaron.
Oh, Pappy, I'm sorry. I could bite my tongue. I promised myself 1,000,000 times that when the day came, I wouldn't say a word. Here I am. Oh, please forgive me. I know as well as you do that everything will be all right. More coffee?
No, I better be going. You want the station wagon today?
Yes, I've got to get groceries.
All right.
Let me walk you to the door.
Mm-hmm.
You got everything? Briefcase, notes?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose on this day of days I should be able to think of something witty and brave to say, but all I can think of is, be careful.
Well, don't worry, I will. Bye now.
Bye. Poppy?
Yeah?
You want to look in on the kids before you go?
What for? I'll see them when I get home tonight.
Oh, yes, of course. Bye, dear.
That's it, Pappy. Everything has been checked and double-checked.
Mm-hmm.
The X-15's locked in and ready to go. At 0730 hours, Ed here will take off and carry you and your craft to 36,500 feet. Ground control will wait 2 seconds and then ignite your rockets. From then on, you're on your own.
There's no change in aircraft test?
No. Just don't take it more than 100 miles up. All we're interested in this trip is reentry. And I don't think we'll have any problems there.
Uh-huh.
Any questions?
No, sir.
Very well, then. I've got to get over to operations or I'll miss the whole show. Good luck to you both.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Well, let's take the Jeep over, right?
Well, how does it feel to be a white-collar hero?
What do you mean by that?
Is there any doubt in your mind, Pappy, that she'll make it?
There's always doubt, Ed. That's why I fly. To eliminate doubt.
Tell me something, Pappy. Are you scared?
What do you think?
Well, if you're like me, I know. I wonder what it will feel like to fly into the edge of space, to be out there all alone, the first man up.
Ed, I know that at first I'll be heavy from the thrust of the rocket, 7 times my own weight. And then I know I'll be weightless when they cut out. And then during re-entry, as the atmosphere starts to drag against the hull of the ship, I'll slowly gain weight again. More than that, I don't know what I'll feel. I'll find out when I get there.
Pappy, when we're 7 miles up, I might be so busy getting ready to drop your plane, I might forget to wish you luck. Let me do it now.
Thanks, Ed. I might need it. Well, you drive or shall I?
I'll drive.
X-15, this is ground control. You are now 0 minus 1 minute from drop-off.
Roger, ground control.
X-15, this is aircraft commander. X-15, this is aircraft commander. Your LOXY and ammonia have been topped off and disconnected. You are free to fall.
Thanks, Ed.
Our altitude is 36,500 feet and our airspeed is 50 constant. The flight plan is now yours.
Okay, Ed. Everything checks out across the board.
Just for kicks, do you have your rocket throttle set on prime?
I've been through this maneuver so many times I can do it in my sleep. Everything here is straight stick.
Good. Well, you are now 7 miles above the face of the Earth. Would you like to try for 100?
I have a lady in the balcony, Doctor.
This is ground control. Please clear the air. You are now 0 minus 30 seconds from drop-off. Please clear the air.
Will you listen to them up there talking just like it was any other day?
What do you want them to do, get out on the wing and pray?
Well, do something. Well, they've never fired those engines in the air before. I bet they blow right up in his face if they fire at all.
Oh, knock it off, Sarge. When they were making the free fall test, you swore that ship would fall like a stone. Well, it didn't. He flew it down better than a glider.
The free fall was different. This time I'm right. She doesn't blow to smithereens when it cuts in them rockets. And she'll heat up and fall apart on re-entry. One way or the other, he's not coming back.
You wouldn't like to make a little wager on that, would you?
And bet you a month's pay.
You're on.
Make it 2 months of your pay. You E3s don't make enough for a man to live on.
Okay, my 2 against your 1 says he makes it back.
And I say he don't.
All right, men, knock it off. Tend to your equipment.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You are now 0 minus 13 seconds from drop-off. Ready for countdown.
Roger, ground control. Stable table. On. Primer. On. All controls operational. I'm ready to roll.
Countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, drop off.
Dr. May, why doesn't he say something? His orders were to talk as much as he can.
Minus 30 seconds to burn out.
Give him time. As soon as the rocket motor's cut out, he'll be able to talk. Right now, he's plastered back against his seat with 7 Gs. He feels that if he opens his mouth right now, his jaw will tear off.
Aircraft commander to ground control. He's out of sight now. Both engines fired perfectly, and he climbed upstairs faster than anything I've seen in a lifetime of flying.
Tell Ed a good job. Well done.
Sir, radar reports X-15 on course and climbing steadily.
How about telemetrics?
Respiration twice normal. Heartbeat up from normal 65 points. Body temperature normal.
90 seconds. 90 seconds is all it takes him to burn 7 tons of fuel and climb 25 miles. Well, that sounds fast enough, but down here it seems like forever.
Take it easy, General. He'll make it.
Yes, I know.
Climb up.
But why doesn't he say something? As soon as the rocket's cut out, he's weightless and coasting. He should be able to talk. Ground control. Make sure we have radio contact.
X-15, this is ground control. X-15, this is ground control. Do you read me? Over. X-15, this is ground control. Do you read me? Over.
Ground control. This is your old pappy, and I read you just fine. Just fine.
What's the matter with him? He doesn't sound right.
He's completely weightless now. I think he's experiencing a side effect of exuberance and exhilaration. It's to be expected.
Hello, Pappy. This is General Brighton. Can you read me?
Yes, General. Us chickens hear you loud and clear.
Try to keep us informed as much as possible on your observations and operations. How does the ship handle?
Like a dream, baby. Like an effortless dream. Everything is pinpoint control. It seems like I'm just sitting still, but the stable table says we're still climbing at 45 degrees. And if I'm to believe the airspeed indicator hanging on the wall, I'm traveling at 3,900 miles an hour.
Pappy, describe the effects of weightlessness. Do you feel nauseated, dizzy?
No, I feel fine. I feel like I'm home for the first time in my life. And like this is where I belong and I want to stay. It's so easy to move. If I want to lift my arm, it jumps up. If I stick it straight out in the air and relax, it stays where I leave it, so I can rest it anywhere I want it. But that isn't the best, Dr. May. Not the best. Oh, you should be up here, Doctor. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
What's beautiful?
Space. The threshold of the universe. It's the beginning, Dr. May, and it's the end.
Describe it, Pappy.
Well, it's black. The universe is black. For a long while it was misty blue-gray, but now it's just black velvet. And the stars are brilliant. They crawl through the universe like huge Christmas tree bulbs. Steady, blue, green, yellow. And they don't twinkle. They just hang there. And if I keep going, I can reach one. Just a little bit farther. X-15, this is ground control. You have now reached an altitude of 95 miles. Begin re-entry maneuver. Well, if it's all the same to you, ground control, I've got enough gas, I just think I'll just go a little bit farther. X-15, you have passed the apex of your flight. Your orders are to level off for re-entry.
But I have to keep going. I'll be back.
What's the matter with him?
Evidently, the aura of well-being that weightlessness produces has given him a dangerous false sense of purity.
Please, just let me climb another 10 minutes.
Another 10 minutes? By that time, he won't be able to re-enter. He'll shoot out into space.
Try giving him a direct order. In this childlike state, he might respond to the first positive suggestion.
X-15, this is General Brighton. I order you to level off that aircraft and commence the classic re-entry maneuver. Do you read me?
Sir?
That ship is property of the United States government. I order you to level off and return it to this field in accordance with your contract.
But, sir...
Don't argue with me. Bring it down.
Yes, sir.
What's he doing, Radar?
He's leveling off, sir. Now he's beginning the 45-degree angle of re-entry. Telemetrics, what do you read?
Temperature normal. Pulse normal. Respiration normal. Radar reports the aircraft has definitely begun the correct angle of re-entry.
Happy. Dr. May again.
If it doesn't interfere too much, we would appreciate it if you'd keep giving your sensations and reactions whenever you can during reentry.
What for? I don't see any point in it.
Please, Pappy. It may be important.
All right. When I pushed the nose down, the edge of the earth broke above my instrument panel like the rim of a great sea. A sea that has turned to blue-green mud, covered with a cataract film of clouds. The rivers of lead are beginning to pour through my veins, weighting down my arms. It's getting harder to breathe. Sound is beginning to come back. And I feel like I'm turning my back on a new world and re-entering a dead one. Sound is beginning to come back. Sounds like the plane is falling apart, and there are people standing on my wings outside. She's getting difficult to handle. The ship is pitching and yawing as she hits each shock wave of atmosphere. And I can feel it start to heat up. In spite of the air conditioning and insulation, the heat is almost unbearable in here. No!
What's happened?
No! No! I can't! I can't!
Happy, do you read me? What's going on out there?
I can't! I can't come back to that crumbling world of gravity and death! I can't!
He's in the thermal thicket. What's going on out there?
This is where you'll melt apart in midair.
I don't belong down there. Nobody does. I'm going back while there's still time.
Okay, Cox, I'll raise you another month's pay.
Money in the bank.
Happy, what's wrong?
I've got to get back before it's too late. My arms are getting so heavy. My fingers hardly move. The ship's so hard to fly. I've got to get out of this safety harness.
The ship must be too hot to fly. He's trying to bail out.
I think he's losing his mind. Pappy, listen to me. What do you think you're doing?
Man was never meant to live on Earth, Dr. May. We were meant to live free. Free from the oppressive weight of flesh. Man was made to live in space, and I'm getting out of this safety harness and going back out there.
Mad, he's mad. Happy, I order you to fasten your safety harness and bring that ship in.
You can't order me, General. It's getting hotter in here. I can see the skin on the nose change from black to dull cherry red. It looks like a hot piece of steel. Hot and dirty like the coal of a cigarette on the cement. I have to disconnect this umbilical cord.
Pappy, do not disconnect the umbilical cord. You cannot live without it. Right now you think you can, but you cannot. You need the oxygen to breathe.
Happy, that ship is property of the United States government.
The ship is yours. My mind is my own, General. I have to go back while there's still time. While there's still time to disconnect this.
Pappy, listen to me. You cannot live without the cord. You need oxygen to live. Pappy, for the sake of Aaron and the children, leave the cord alone. Pappy, do you hear me? What's the telemetric readings?
They've dropped to normal, sir. Right across the board.
Normal?
Normal, sir. Radar, what's your reading?
Aircraft adhering to the proper 45-degree angle of descent. Losing altitude at the proper speed.
In just a moment, we will return for the concluding act of Suspense.
Welcome, recording star Mel Torme.
It's terrible trying to sing with a bad cold. So I always take 4-way cold tablets to relieve cold miseries fast.
Good idea. Tests of all the leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting. 4-way starts in minutes to relieve muscular pains, headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
When you catch cold, try my way. Take 4-way cold tablets. The fast way to relieve cold distress and feel better quickly.
4-way, only 29 cents.
Our program will continue in a moment after word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. To get rid of embarrassing dandruff in 3 minutes, change to Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep unsightly dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair, rub in 1 minute. Add water, lather 1 minute, then rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch and embarrassing dandruff's gone. At the same time, Fitch can brighten hair up to 35%. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your news reporter, Dave Miller. At the moment, I'm standing at the edge of Rogers Dry Lake in the Mojave Desert at Edwards Air Force Base in Southern California. In just a few seconds, if all goes well, a sleek, black, ferrous alloy, rocket-propelled aircraft will come hurtling out of the sky from the east, slide across this flat desert at speeds up to 200 miles an hour, and stop just a few yards away from where I'm standing. And then Mr. Howard Pappy Winfield will step from the cockpit and become the first man to have flown into outer space and returned. It is a beautiful day at Edwards Air Force Base. The sun is hot and bright, but there is a prevailing westerly wind. Oh, right now, out of the ground control complex, I see officers and men coming out, climbing into vehicles. It won't be long now. There's General Brighton. Perhaps I can get him to say a few words on today's test. General Brighton? Yes, General Brighton, would you care to comment on the success of this afternoon's test?
It won't be counted a success until the plane is safely at a stop on that runway.
Well, is there any reason to believe it won't be a success?
No comment.
Several men are pointing off to the east, but as yet... Yes, now I see it too. It looks to be hardly bigger than a speck, just a few feet above the horizon. But it's growing bigger all the time. Now we can see it quite clearly. The pilot has jettisoned his ventral stabilizer. This strange dart-like aircraft has no wheels. It lands on steel skids on its underside. There she's touching down. You can see a cloud of smoke from the floor where she hit. She bounced up. Now she's trying again. This is the ship the newspaper men call the Missile with the Man in it. And that's exactly what she looks like. A huge black missile with stubby wings. A plume of dust is following her. It decreases as the ship slows down, and it is slowing. In a moment, it will be almost abreast of it. There it is. It is almost stopped. Listen to the cheering of the technicians as they run toward the ship. I'm trying to keep up with them. It sounds like Cape Canaveral on a good day.
Hey, you want me?
Getting closer to the ship, the dust is settling over her dull black surface. Her sharp needle nose looks deadly. Now they're moving an aluminum ladder into place next to the ship. Mechanics and asbestos gloves are working to get the canopy raised. The latch is released. Slowly, the canopy is being raised. In just a moment, we catch our first sight of the first man from outer space. If I can just get closer... Ladies and gentlemen, there is no one there. The cockpit is empty.
Suspense. You have been listening to ReEntry, written for Suspense by George Bamber. In a moment, the names of our players and a word about next week's story of Suspense. In this day and atomic age, another place to find suspense is in the news. And one reporter who never loses an opportunity to make the most of a colorful, suspenseful news story is Lowell Thomas. Heard weekday evenings on CBS Radio. Get into the habit. Get your news from Lowell Thomas. Heard in tonight's story were Lyle Sudrow as Pappy, with Margaret Draper, Les Damon, Bob Reddick, Frank Thomas Jr., Robert Donnelly, Mason Adams, Jim Bowles, Frank Butler, and Whitfield Connor. Listen again next week when we return with The Last Trip, written especially for Suspense by Ralph Bell and Eugene Francis. The story of a man's last ride. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense on CBS Radio.
And now, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
When a fond husband leaves on an overseas business trip, his loving wife is apt to slip a remembrance gift into his suitcase, as our heroine Myra does in a story by Ralph Bell and Eugene Francis called The Last Trip.
Here, Ted, over here.
Hi, Myra.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah, sorry I'm late, baby.
What the devil happened? I'm going out of my mind waiting in this horrid cafeteria.
Easy, baby. Took me a little longer than I figured to rig up our little surprise package. Then I got stuck in a cab. Traffic is murder.
Yeah, that's another thing. What makes you think they're going to let planes take off in this weather?
Relax, will you? I called the airport just before I left my apartment. All overseas flights are leaving as scheduled. It's only a little missed. Here's the package. Better get moving before Harry gets home.
He's home already.
What? You sure?
I just phoned. He got in 5 minutes ago and started to pack. Now, how am I supposed to get this into his suitcase without his noticing, huh?
I don't have to tell you how. He's your husband. You've never had trouble handling him up to now. Distract him somehow. Then slip the package into the suitcase, close it, and see that it stays closed till he leaves with it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Not going to be that simple.
Sure it is. You can do it, Myra. Look, you still want to go on living with him? I'll tell you right now, I'll just have to fade out of the picture.
You mean you'd stop seeing me?
I'd leave town, that's all.
All right. Give it to me.
Good girl. Now, look, you don't have to be nervous about handling it. It won't go off till it's time.
Ted, are you sure it'll work?
It'll work, Myra, I guarantee it. At 5 p.m., when it explodes, this plane will be well over the ocean. Now, you better get going. Phone me at my apartment after he leaves, and good luck, sweetheart.
Is that you, Myra?
Yes, Harry. Had you packed yet, dear?
Almost there. I'll do the rest after I finish shaving.
Oh, I'll do it, Harry. I'd have done it before, but I was delayed shopping.
What'd you buy? Anything interesting?
Oh, nothing really.
What's in that package?
Huh?
Well, that package you're holding.
This, just some shoes.
Oh, really? How'd they look? You know, you have such pretty feet, darling. Put them on, let me see.
Oh, Harry, there's no time. Now, where's your suitcase?
It's on the bed, dear.
What do you want me to put in?
What? Speak up, dear. I can't hear with this thing on.
I said, what do you want me to put in?
Oh, just some handkerchiefs and socks. I've packed everything else.
All right, dear. What color socks, dear?
I'm wearing the gray suit. Would blue be all right?
I think so, dear. Hot pot.
What, dear?
How many pair?
Well, just enough for 3 days, dear. And don't forget the handkerchiefs.
No, I'll put them right under your shirt. And your surprise package and everything else, you old goat.
What, dear?
I said the handkerchiefs are under your shirts, darling.
Oh, thank you, dear.
Now to get this clothes.
Oh, golly. Well, I'll be glad when this trip is over.
Oh, so will I, dear. Oh, darling.
Oh, don't bother with the suitcase, dear. I'll close it.
All right.
You know, I often think what my life was like before I met you. Years spent just grubbing for money, and who was there to spend it on? Here I was over 50, and I hadn't really lived. A meaningless existence. Then, 2 years ago, Providence was merciful. You came into my life. You gave me back my youth, Myra. You know that?
Oh, Harry.
Oh. Say, what's in here? Did I cut too much?
No. No, let's put our weight on it together.
Well, I could take some things out.
No, come on, together. Ready? Now, push down.
Oh, my. That'll never close. There's too much in here. I guess I'll have to take some things out.
Oh, Harry.
Oh, we'll take a minute. Myra, your package. What's it doing in my suitcase?
Oh, the package. Well, Harry, darling, it was to be a surprise.
A surprise?
Yeah, for your birthday.
My birth? But Myra...
It's a gift for you. I didn't want you to see it until you unpacked.
Oh, what a pity.
Now you've spoiled everything.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I didn't mean to.
Well, you put it right back and don't open it till you arrive. Then it'll still be a surprise. Promise?
Oh, I promise. You're so sweet and so thoughtful. Thank you, darling.
Now, hurry. You haven't much time.
Yes, dear. Now, suppose I take out these slippers of mine. That ought to make room for the package. There. Now it'll close, you see. Well, I better lock it, too. A lot of petty thievery going on lately. Can't be too careful. Oh, there we are. It's all set. See me to the door.
Well, of course, dear. Now, hurry, darling. You'll be late.
All right. I'll cable you as soon as I land.
Yeah.
Give me a kiss.
Now, goodbye, darling, and take care of yourself.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Goodbye.
Hello, Yes, he's gone. He managed it, but he nearly drove me right out of my mind. What do you mean, take it easy? You don't know what I've been through. Yes? Who is it?
It's me. Open up.
Dad, what are you doing here? I told you to stay away till it's all over. It's too risky.
You sounded almost hysterical, baby. Thought I'd better come over and stay with you till you calm down.
I am calmed down.
Well, I'll stick around anyway till we get the news about the plane. As soon as we hear you're a widow, I'll take off.
Suppose somebody decides to drop in.
So I'll use the fire escape in the bedroom like I've done before. How about a drink?
I've had one.
Oh, have another. Settle your nerves.
When will we know?
Will you stop fretting? The explosion will happen at 5 on the nose. Radio will probably flash the news later this evening.
Then what?
Oh, Myra, we've been over this a dozen times. We sit tight till the airline calls. Then you go into your act. The shocked and bereft widow.
Yeah.
Only you'll have to be convincing.
Oh, that won't be easy. It'll be such a relief to know I'm finally rid of him. One thing worries me, though.
Here's your drink. What worries you?
Suppose the plane's only damaged and it manages to turn back and land.
Not a chance. There's enough blast in that little package to knock over a house. You can imagine what it'll do to a plane 10,000 feet up. Come on. Drink up, Myra. Wait, a toast. To Harry, our benefactor. To his last trip. Let's turn on the radio, huh?
You know, I can't help feeling a little sorry for those other plane passengers.
Well, that's very humanitarian of you, Myra. But like I've always said, some must die so that others may live in clover. That's a basic fact of life.
You're very necessary to me, Ted. I mean emotionally.
Really? Why?
You're such an unadulterated heel, you make me feel almost respectable.
And you're such a charming hypocrite. You make me feel like an honest man. Almost. Oh, we're a dandy team.
And now, the late afternoon news. The weather's making headlines again today. The slight haze that's hung over the city for the past 2 days thickened late this afternoon and developed into heavy smog.
Hey, turn that up.
The smog has been caused by a heavy, congested, smoke-filled atmosphere that is imprisoned over the city by damp, immobile air. Meanwhile, all flights have been canceled at city airports, and motor traffic is moving at a snail's pace. Motorists are warned to drive with extreme caution. President Eisenhower held a press conference today.
Dad,
Yeah.
you suppose
Go on. Say it.
Harry's flight has been canceled?
In just a moment, we will return for the second act of Suspense.
Bonjour, I am Jacques Leroy, expert on the stereophonic phonograph. I will now clear up this whole subject. S'il vous plaît, listen to ordinary stereo. A girl crossing the street. Eh bien, now on Columbia Stereo 1. That was a pretty girl crossing the street. Quelle différence! The fantastic Columbia Stereo 1 phonograph gives you all the realism and excitement of a live performance. What in a moment, mademoiselle. Oh la la. Oh, pardon. You see, only Columbia has exclusive stereo projection. Not just a few separated speakers, no, but multiple speakers that send interlocking circles of sound through every inch of the room. See the Columbia phonograph man tout de suite. Columbia Stereo 1 portable start at $39.95. Consoles from $129.95. Attendez, ma chérie! Wait for me!
Look at that haze, will you? It didn't seem so bad when I was on my way over here.
If his plane didn't take off, where do you suppose Harry is now?
I don't care where Harry is. Where's his suitcase? If it explodes while he's carrying it around, we're really in the soup. There'll be an investigation. It'll lead right back here.
Well, what do we do?
Wait a minute. Let me think.
This is a fine time to think, genius. Why didn't you think before?
Now, wait, Myra. The weather report said slight haze. The airline said they were operating a regular schedule. Nobody could figure there'd be smog.
Nobody could figure. You were smart enough to figure everything else. Why couldn't you figure this might happen?
All right, I didn't. Now, will you shut up for a minute? Wait. Maybe we're jumping to conclusions. We're not sure his plane was grounded.
So how do we find out?
Phone me up. Come on, answer. Hello. Can you tell me if Flight 377 took off on schedule? Yeah, hold on. Hello, what? Oh, thank you. You see, we panicked over nothing. Plane took off 10 minutes late, but it took off.
Oh, what a relief. I'm sorry, Ted.
That's all right, baby. For a moment there, it felt like the whole world was falling in on us. Say, I could use another drink. You?
Yeah.
Hey, who can that be?
I don't know. Where you going?
The bedroom. I'll wait out on the fire escape till you get rid of whoever it is.
Close the door.
Okay.
Coming. Who is it?
It's me, dear.
Harry.
Open up, dear.
Harry. What happened? Why aren't you on that plane?
Myra, you won't believe it. Wait until you hear.
Close the door, dear.
Harry, for heaven's sakes, what happened?
Well, my cab got stuck in an awful traffic jam, and the fog or the smog or whatever it is kept getting heavier every minute. Traffic was just crawling. And finally it occurred to me that even if the cab got me to the airport on time, all flights would probably be canceled. So...
But your plane took off.
Oh, did? Well, how do you know?
Well, I called the airport.
Oh, now, how do you like that? I probably could have made it after all.
Where you been all this time?
I went back to the office, sent a cable that I'd be a day late.
You left your suitcase in the office?
What?
Your suitcase. Did you leave it in your office?
Well, no, of course not.
Well, where is it?
Why... Isn't that foolish of me? I left it outside the door. I'd better bring it in. Here we are. Oh, just leave it in the corner, dear.
There's no point in unpacking. I'll be going first thing tomorrow.
What time is it?
Let me see. It's 4:45. More or less.
Well, what do you mean, more or less?
My watch may be a little slow.
Look, Harry, let's go out to dinner tonight, huh?
Well, it's not very pleasant outside.
Well, I don't care. I just don't feel like cooking in tonight. Let's eat early right now and go to a movie or something, huh?
Well, if you really want
Yeah,
to.
I'll go fix my face. Why don't you mix a drink for us while I get ready?
All right.
There's soda in the kitchen. I'll be ready in a minute.
Myra!
What?
Put down that suitcase.
Well, why? I'm taking the bedroom. It clutters up the room here.
For heaven's sake, you'll strain yourself. That's too heavy for you. Give it
No,
me.
I can manage. Now, don't fuss, Harry. Make the drink, huh?
Well, all right. But if you strain yourself, Myra...
It's all right, Harry's in the kitchen. Get in here. I've got the suitcase.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
What I want you to do is take the bomb out and get it out of here.
Yeah, okay.
Harry, you've got less than 15 minutes before it goes off.
I know. Oh, great.
What's the matter?
If it's locked, where's the key?
Harry's got it.
I'll have to break the lock then.
How I'll explain that? No, wait. I've got a better idea.
What?
Take the suitcase. Get rid of it in the river. It's only a block away. You'll have time.
Yeah, but how can I take it down?
All right. Hit me.
What?
Yeah, hit me in the face. Then take the suitcase. I'll wait till you get down the fire escape, then I'll call for help. I'll tell Harry there was a thief, that he knocked me unconscious before I could scream.
Yeah, but Myra...
Don't argue, do as I say.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah. Hard now. Hard enough to leave a mark. It's got to be convincing. Go on.
All right. Okay, Myra. I'll be in touch.
In just a moment, we will return for the concluding act of Suspense.
Meet star Stuart Irwin.
Nothing's worse for an actor than a nasty cold. To feel better quickly, I take wonderful 4-way cold tablets, the fast way to relieve cold distress.
Right. Tests of all the leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting. 4-way starts in minutes to relieve muscular pains, headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
Take my advice. For your next cold, take 4-way cold tablets, the fast way to relieve those cold miseries.
4-way, only 29 cents.
Our program will continue in a moment after a word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. To get rid of embarrassing dandruff in 3 minutes, change to Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep unsightly dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair, rub in 1 minute. Add water, lather 1 minute, then rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch and embarrassing dandruff's gone. At the same time, Fitch can brighten hair up to 35%. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today.
Help! Help! Harry, help! Where is the old fool? Harry!
Myra, what is it?
Oh, Harry.
What happened? Oh, here, let me help you out. Look at your face. What on
A
earth?
man, he must have come in from the fire escape. He struck me before I could scream.
Good Lord.
I saw him take your suitcase before I passed out.
Oh, I better call the police. Are you all right? Shall I call a doctor?
No, it's just a bruise.
Oh, you better lie down. I'll be right back. Hello, operator. I want to report a robbery. Hurry, please. Now, Myra, you should lie down.
I'm all right, I tell you.
Oh, now, who can that be?
I'll get it. Yeah, what is it?
Harry Jason's residence?
Yes?
Detective Sergeant Duran, 28th Precinct.
Oh, I was just calling you fellas.
Yeah? What about?
Well, a man just broke into our apartment from the fire escape. He struck my wife and got away with a suitcase. You better come in, officer.
Just a minute. Is this your suitcase, Mr. Jason?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, it is, Myra. Oh, it's definitely my suitcase, Sergeant. You see, there are my initials, H.J.
Uh-huh. Hey, Keene, bring him in here. Close the door. This the man who assaulted you, lady?
I can't be sure. I didn't get a good look.
Can you identify him, Mr. Jason?
Well, no, Sergeant. I didn't see him at all. I was in the kitchen when it happened. What makes you think he's the one?
Somebody from across the way called to report there was a man lurking on your fire escape. We got here just as he was coming down, carrying your suitcase. He started to run, and we collared him.
Please, what time is it?
Time? Oh, it's about 5.
I mean exactly.
Exactly. I got 4 minutes to 5. Why?
Oh, no reason. I'm just confused. The shock.
Oh, sure. I understand. Now, if you folks will come down to the station and file charges.
Now?
Sure, I might as well get over with.
Well, why don't you all go ahead? I'll join you as soon as I make myself more presentable.
No, that's all right, ma'am. We'll wait for you. No hurry.
But I don't feel well. My face is...
Oh, yeah, it sure looks a mess. Meaning no offense, ma'am. Maybe you better bring her down later, Mr. Jason. Okay, you pick up the suitcase.
No.
What do you mean, no? You wanted it so bad you lugged it down the fire escape. Now you can lug it down to the station. Pick it up. Go on.
Wait. Listen to me. There's a time bomb in there. It's set to go off in less than 4 minutes. If we don't get away from here, we'll all be blown to pieces.
What are you, a comedian? Pick up that suitcase.
It's the truth, I tell you. You gotta believe me.
How do you know there's a bomb in there?
His wife put it there.
He's crazy, officer. I don't even know this man.
We were in it together. It was supposed to blow up on the plane. Now, open that suitcase. I'll defuse the bomb before it's too late. Will you hurry?
I don't understand. You mean there's actually a...
Relax, Mr. Jason. You know there's no bomb in there. He's pulling some kind of story.
I'm not, I swear it.
All right. I'll go along with the gag. We'll just sit here for 5 minutes and see if your bomb goes off. One thing I can't stand is a 2-bit crook that's a wise guy.
He's telling the truth. Harry, open it.
Myra.
Give him the key, Harry, quick.
Where's the key, Mr. Jason?
The key?
The key to the suitcase. Have you got it?
Here.
Yeah, give me it. Where'd you put it, Myra?
Under his shirt.
Where is it?
There.
If you're referring to my birthday present, Myra, dear, you're quite right. It's not in my suitcase.
But...
You see, Myra, my dear, I was so touched this afternoon when for the first time in our whole married life you remembered I had a birthday. In fact, it was the first birthday gift you'd ever given me. So on my way to the airport, I couldn't resist seeing what it was. Imagine my surprise when I recognized its somewhat lethal nature.
It wasn't my idea, Harry, honest.
At first, I was somewhat stunned. And then all your little maneuvers, your adroit little lies in the past began to fall into place. I took your gift to Sergeant Duran here, and then we drove over and waited outside the house until we saw your friend arrive. We evolved a little stratagem to get a confession from you both. And now that we have it, Sergeant, I think you'd better get him out of here.
Sure, Mr. Jason. Okay, let's go, you two.
Oh, Myra, one thing more. My birthday actually occurred last month. It's a pity you never remembered the date. Or rather, how lucky.
Suspense.
You've been listening to The Last Trip, written for Suspense by Ralph Bell and Eugene Francis. Heard in tonight's story were Ralph Bell, Connie Lemke, Eugene Francis, and Bob Dryden. Suspense is produced and directed by Paul Roberts. Listen again next week when we return with The Companion, a story of jealousy and jewels, written by Walter Black. Another tale well calculated to keep you in Suspense on CBS Radio.
WROW, Radio 59.
Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
This is the story of two women alone in a house during a storm and what they do to protect themselves from fear. In a moment, The Companion by Walter Black.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Winston gives you real flavorful, rich tobacco flavor. Winston's easy drawing too. The flavor comes right through to you. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
A modern filter? Sure, Winston has it. But that's only the beginning of a Winston. Up front, up where it really counts, Winston packs exclusive filter blend. Light, flavorful tobaccos, specially selected and specially processed for filter smoking. Filter blend. That's why it's fun to smoke Winston, America's best-selling filter cigarette.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Mrs. Hughes?
Yes, Miss Lord.
That's right.
Come right in.
I'm sorry if I'm late. I couldn't get a taxi, so I took the bus.
Oh, no. You didn't take any time at all.
I got the impression you wanted me to get out here fast.
Yeah, I did. You're a local girl, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, you must know my husband, Kent. You were both probably in high school at the same time.
Yes, I remember him. He was a year ahead of me, but that was some time ago. Where is my room, Mrs. Hughes?
Oh, just on the hall there. I'd like you to meet my mother first.
Your mother? I thought you were alone.
Well, I might as well be. Poor Mama's been in a wheelchair ever since she had her stroke 4 years ago. This way, please. Here's Miss Lord, Mama. This is my mother, Mrs. Stinson.
How do you do?
How do you do? Did you say Miss Lord?
That's right.
Somehow I expected someone a bit older.
May I unpack now, Mrs. Hughes?
Oh, yes, of course. It's at the end of the hall.
Mrs. Stinson, are these your jewels?
Yes. Why?
If I were you, I wouldn't leave them out on the bureau. They're beautiful. They might get lost.
Well, I hope you're satisfied, Lois.
Mama, don't act as if I were being selfish. I got her out here as much for you as for me.
Move the wheelchair closer to the window, Lois.
Oh, did I ever complain before about Kent going off on his business trips?
If you want the truth, yes.
I may have complained a little. I never did anything about it. I can't stand it anymore, always being left alone.
Not all alone, dear.
Yes, I know.
I know. I'm a cripple.
I didn't say that, Mama. You don't have to look so reproachful. Each time Kent's gone off, it's gotten worse. Not that he cares, he's gone away again and again without giving me a thought.
Now, Lois Hughes, you stop being so dramatic. Kent's a fine person and a good husband, but he's got his job to do.
Well, then he ought to change his job. I think he wants to travel, doing whatever he does. Oh, you think I exaggerate, don't you? Well, all I want is for my husband to come back home every night. Is that so terrible? Does that make me a bad wife?
Oh, no, baby. Mama never thought that.
Oh, well, did you ever think how lonely it is out here for me? Buried like this out in the country? I get scared, Mama, sometimes. And then you with your precious heirlooms lying around.
Oh, they're memories, Lois. That's all I have.
Yes, but what if someone tried to get in here while Kent was away? Well, people are still robbed, you know.
Stop talking that way. Are you trying to frighten me?
I'm trying to be sensible.
Those jewels are a temptation to any man who wants to walk in and pick them up.
Well, I've had some of those pieces since I was 16, Lois. That diamond brooch belonged to your great-grandmother.
Yes, Mama, I know, but what good would they do you if they were stolen? Well, even Miss Lord noticed how careless you are about them.
All right. I don't want to argue about it. But I still don't see what that woman is going to do around here.
Yes, she doesn't do anything. She'll be here. That's all I hired her for.
Who recommended her?
Peggy Martinson. She stayed with her when she was sick last year.
I don't like her.
You only saw her for 1 minute.
She's too cold. She looks right through you. If you don't mind, I think I'll just have my meals sent in here. The less I see of her, the easier I'll feel.
Want me to take your supper tray, Mama?
Mm-hmm. Have you eaten?
Oh, I just had some coffee. I'm too jumpy to eat.
Well, this storm is enough to make anyone jumpy. Oh, listen to that rain coming down.
It's a storm, Mama. It's Miss Lord.
Why? What's she done?
Oh, nothing. It's the way she acts, that's all. It's what you said. She's cold. I feel uncomfortable around her.
What has she done?
Nothing really. Nothing at all. I didn't want her to do anything. I just wanted to feel safer with her, but I don't. She keeps staring at me in that cold way of hers.
Well, then, for heaven's sakes, get rid of her. Call a taxi and have them come pick her up.
Won't that look awfully funny?
Well, what do you care? This is your house. Pay her for the day and get rid of her. Tell her you've changed your mind.
I never should have called her. It's true, I do exaggerate. We don't really need anyone.
What's the matter? You want me to look up the number?
There's no dial tone.
Well, jiggle the hook.
It's dead.
Oh, it can't be. The storm isn't that bad yet. Maybe it's just this extension. Go use the one in the front hall.
Yes, Mama. I'll be right back. Oh, Miss Lard. I thought you were in your room.
I was closing the living room windows. Good night, Mrs. Hughes.
Mama! The wire! It's been cut! Mama! What is it now, child? The phone. She cut the main cord. I almost caught her at it.
Did she say she did it?
No, I didn't ask. I was frightened. Besides, she'd gone to her room.
Why should she do it?
Why? Don't you see? Without the phone, we're helpless.
She wouldn't do anything, honey. Why would people know she's here with us?
Who knows, Mama? Nobody.
They do, too. The taxi driver.
No, she took the bus. She walked up from Broad River. She said she couldn't get a taxi.
What are we going to do?
I'm going to talk to her, Mama. Anything's better than not knowing.
Lois.
Yes, Mama.
Be careful, honey.
Miss Lard, it's me, Mrs. Hughes. It's all right, Mama. It's all right. Here I am.
Oh, you'll never know what the last couple of minutes have been like. What are you carrying your handbag for?
It's not mine. It's hers.
But whatever.
Stop asking questions, Mama, and listen. I knocked on her door and there wasn't any answer, so I went in. She wasn't in her room, even though she had said goodnight. Her purse was on the dresser, so I opened it up and... Look, Mama, look.
Oh, God. Don't touch it. It might go off.
Why would she be carrying a gun, Mama?
It's my jewels. She's after my jewels. Oh, baby, do you think if I If I offered to give her one of the smaller pieces, she'd leave.
You mean bribe her?
It's worth right.
Is that my handbag, Mrs. Hughes?
Oh, yes.
What are you doing with it?
I thought it was mine. I have one like it.
You have one like it in my room?
Well, I was looking for it, and I knocked on your door.
May I have it? Thank you. You didn't put your jewels away, did you, Mrs. Stinson?
Lois, ask her.
Miss Lord, my mother and I, we're both very grateful for your coming up here and staying with us, and we'd like to give you a little token. After all, my mother hardly ever wears any of her jewelry, and you seem to have admired them, so why don't you pick out one of the pieces you'd like and take it?
You want to give me jewelry?
Yes, that's right, just because we're so grateful. Aren't we, Mama?
Yes, we're grateful.
So just help yourself. I know it's a little unusual, but we're very grateful. If you like, Mama will write a little note saying it's a gift.
I don't accept gifts. Good night.
Quick, lock the door. Why did she refuse, Mama?
She saw right through us, for one thing. Why should she take one piece when she can murder us in our beds and take everything?
No, she wouldn't, Mama. See this?
What? The gun.
She didn't even know.
Put it away. Oh, just the sight of it scares me half to death.
All right, Mama. But at least she hasn't got it anymore. Now I'm going for help.
Lois, you can't leave me alone.
Leave the gun with you.
I could never use it.
Mama, that woman is a psychopath.
You mean she's insane?
Yes, I think she is.
But you told me yourself Peggy Martinson recommended her.
Psychopaths act just like anybody else most of the time. Mama, I'm going to lock your door from the outside because I have to go.
Oh. Be careful, Lois. And don't forget your boots.
Yes, Mama.
Maybe once you get out on Barrett Road, maybe a car will pass. You could get a ride.
Yes, Mama.
Be sure and lock the door from the outside and take the key with you.
Yes, Mama. She must be in her room.
Careful.
I will.
Who is that? Go away. The door's locked. It's locked. And now go away or I'll scream. Oh, Lois, why didn't you say it was you?
I couldn't, Mama. I didn't want her to hear.
Why haven't you left? What happened? Did she catch you?
She didn't have to, Mama. Mama, the doors are locked.
The back door, too?
Yes.
The cellar?
Yes.
Well, there must be a key. You have the one to this room.
That one was in the door.
But isn't there another key someplace?
Yes, on Kent's key ring.
Oh, dear God.
I thought of the windows, but the casements are too small.
Oh.
Mama, we're prisoners.
In just a moment, we will return for the concluding act of Suspense.
Here's Hollywood star Mona Freeman.
Who feels like acting with a miserable cold? I relieve cold distress the fast way with 4-way cold tablets.
Yes, tests of all the leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting. Amazing 4-way starts in minutes to relieve muscular pains and headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
When a cold strikes, do what I do. Take 4-way cold tablets. It's the fast way to relieve nasty cold distress and feel better quickly.
4-way, only 29 cents.
Our program will continue in a moment after a word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Does dandruff dull your hair, leave scalp itchy? Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo and get rid of unsightly dandruff in 3 minutes. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep embarrassing dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair. Rub in 1 minute. Add water, lather 1 minute, rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch, unsightly dandruff's gone. Fitch can also leave your hair up to 35% brighter. Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo.
We're prisoners, just as surely as if we're locked up in jail. Mama, when I think of all the awful things you read about in the papers, you never dream they can ever happen to you. It's like a nightmare.
Sit down, child. We've got to think of some way out.
All right, Mama. I'm sitting. Now go ahead, think of a way out. Oh. Only 10 o'clock. I thought it was later.
Lois, hand me my box of stationery.
Mama, what for?
What time does your milkman show up?
6 or 7. Why?
I can write a note. Wrap it up in 3 or 4 sheets of paper and some envelopes. Throw it out the window. Even if the rain does get through it, he'll be able to read it. And then he has to pass my window to get to the back door. What's the matter? It's worth trying.
No, it's not, Mama. He was here this morning. He won't come again until day after tomorrow.
There now.
Mama, you know who's responsible for all this. Kent. He didn't have to go off and leave us alone. He has that new assistant he could have sent. But he wanted to go. He wanted to get away from me.
Stop that. Now you're getting hysterical. Kent is a good husband and you're lucky to have him.
Listen.
What is it?
I thought I heard the doorknob rattle. You know, if she really wanted to, she could break down the door. Those panels are like tissue paper.
Lois, take that gun.
What for, Mama?
Take it. Lois, don't touch the trigger.
But, Mama...
Don't argue with me. You've got to face that woman. You've got to make her leave this house.
But I've never handled it.
I don't care. You've got to do it. You said yourself that you could break down the door. You think that she'll just sit around and wait until somebody comes and she has to leave? This is the only chance we have.
All right, Mama.
Don't let her get close to you.
No.
Oh, that's my good girl. And Lois, if you have to pull the trigger, aim at her leg. Oh, Heavenly Father. Please, that's her help.
Yes? It's me, Mrs. Hughes. I have to see you.
Yes? What are you doing with that gun?
I have to talk to you.
Put that gun away, Mrs. Hughes.
Please. I have to talk to you.
What do you want? Please put that gun down.
After all I've gone through, don't be ridiculous. Or sit down, Miss Lord.
What is it you're...
Sit down. That's better.
Please, Mrs. Hughes, what have I done?
That's right, Peg. I like that.
But what have I done? Please, don't you...
It's too bad Ken can't see you crying. He hates women who blubber, you know. That's what he calls it. That's why he's never seen me cry. Although I've felt like it often enough.
Listen to me.
Move. It's better. Oh, and don't bother screaming. There's only my mother to hear you. And she'd think it was me anyway. And besides, if you screamed, it might make me so nervous. And the gun would go off. And then I'd have to tell Mama we fought for it. And it went off accidentally.
What do you want?
Oh, come now. You're a big girl. Why ask foolish questions?
You cut the phone cord.
Well, of course. I did everything else, too.
But why? I've never done you any harm.
I've never done you any harm. You've only tried to ruin my life, that's all. You think I don't know about you and my husband?
Your husband?
Not that you're the first. Every woman who sees him tries to take him away from me. Even that smug little Peggy Martinson, she thinks I'm blind. Well, I'm not. And you poor little fool, lying about remembering him from long ago. Well, you think I didn't know you were sweethearts in high school and still are? You think I don't know he'd been sneaking off to meet you on the sly? Oh, how you must have laughed at me. How sure you must have felt to walk in here, into my home.
Yes, I did know Ken in high school, but it was never serious. I swear to you, I haven't seen him a dozen times since then.
Oh.
It was only high school dating. I've never been in love with him.
Go on, lie some more. Tell me you never sat with him in the station cafe either.
Well, I can explain that. We bumped into each other accidentally. We had a cup of coffee while he was waiting for a train, that's all.
I don't understand what he sees in you.
Please, Mrs. Hughes, he doesn't even know I'm alive.
Oh, very apropos. Because you won't be much longer. Nor will any of those other girls he runs off to meet. Are you ready, Miss Lord?
Give me that gun.
You don't understand, Mama. She's trying to take Ken away from me.
So that's it. You weren't worried about my jewels or about us?
She's trying to get Ken, don't you see, Mama?
I'm beginning to. You locked the doors and cut the phone cord, didn't you, Lord?
But I had to,
and
Mama.
frightening me, that was all a part of your plan, too, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Mama.
I have seen this jealousy of yours build and build, but I never dreamed that you... Lois, child, your husband loves you. There's nothing for you to be jealous about. He's coming back.
Yes, to get her.
No.
Hey, anybody home?
In here.
See, for her.
In here. In the spare bedroom.
What's the matter with the phone? Storm knocked down the lines. I've been calling since 5:30, but... Diane, what are you doing here? What's going on? Lois, what are you doing with that gun?
Lois thinks that you and Miss Lord are sweethearts.
What? You don't have to lie anymore. Nancy Adams saw you with her at the station cafe.
Saw me with... once. I ran into her accidentally. We had a cup of coffee, that's all. Tell her, Diane.
I tried to. You're away so much, and I know I'm not glamorous or very exciting.
You're my wife, and I love you. Give me the gun.
Ken, darling.
Look, baby. Honey, look, the trip was postponed until next week. How about coming with me? We'll take a couple of extra days just for us.
You really want me to?
Very, very much.
There. It's all right now, baby. From now on, everything is going to be all right.
Suspense.
You've been listening to The Companion, written for Suspense by Walter Black. In a moment, the names of our players and a word about next week's story of Suspense.
Are you out of tune due to irregularity? Then help yourself get back in tune with Kellogg's All Brand. Pleasant, isn't it? The feeling of well-being you get when constipation from lack of bulk is no longer a worry. When harsh, irritating drug laxatives can be thrown away. Because Kellogg's All Brand is the normal, natural way to regularity. Its whole brand content gentles away constipation, supplies your system with the bulk-forming food you need for youthful regularity. And it tastes good, too. Fact is, Kellogg's All Brand is the one and only whole brand cereal that combines proved effectiveness with appetizing taste and crispness. So if you're out of tune, help yourself get back in tune as millions do with Kellogg's All Brand. ALL-BRAN. Kellogg's All Brand.
Heard in tonight's story were Elizabeth Lawrence as Lois, Virginia Payne as Mrs. Stinson, and Rita Lloyd as Miss Lord. Listen again next week when we return with The Thimble, a story of murder with a motive for everyone. Written by Alan Sloan from a story by Eliezer Lipsky. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
As you smoke a Duke, you get a sense of ease and comfort that grows with every puff. Because new king-size Duke is king-size in the filter, where it matters most.
Radio 59, WROW. You know, we're all not experts on suits or stoves or automobiles, so before spending any money, we find out what makes one good. Aren't schools much more important? Shouldn't we know what a good school is really like? A free new booklet helps you to do this important job. It's called Yardsticks for Public Schools, published by the National Citizens Council for Better Schools. It suggests ways of sizing up a school and of ensuring a better education for your children. Send a card today for your free copy. Write Yardsticks and your name and address on a card. Mail it to Better Schools, 9 East 40th Street, New York, 16, New York. That's Better Schools, 9 East 40th Street, New York, 16, New York.
And now, another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
A story of murder with a motive for everyone. As in a moment we bring you The Thimble, a story by Eliezer Lipsky, adapted for radio by Alan Sloan.
Talk about best-selling records. Here's a familiar tune about America's best-selling filter cigarette, Winston. Winston gives you real flavor, full, rich tobacco flavor. And you know, that's because only Winston has filter blend up front. Choice, flavorful tobaccos, specially selected and specially processed for filter smoking. No wonder Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should. Smoke Winston.
Yes, Miss Brady.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Miss Dennis O'Neill to see you.
Did you ask Miss O'Neill to wait a few minutes? No, better yet, have her come back after lunch. Detective Russell and I are busy.
Yes, sir.
Dennis O'Neill. Now, where have I heard that name before, Joe?
Morning paper. Daughter of the house painter who died yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Heart attack, wasn't it?
Yep. Where were we?
Well, we...
I've got to see you. Please wait outside. I'm sorry, Mr. Morgan. This young lady just forced her way in. The district attorney.
It's all right, Miss Brady. It's Assistant DA, Miss O'Neill, and I'm he. Well, as long as you're in, won't you sit down?
No, please. There's no time. You must hurry. Who's this man?
Detective Joe Russell.
Detectives, police, folks, somebody do something. They're going to bury her in 2 hours.
Bury who, Miss O'Neill?
Bury my mother.
If the funeral's in 2 hours, shouldn't you be...
No! You must listen to me. They wouldn't listen to me if they listened to me.
What is it you want to tell me, Miss O'Neill?
My mother was murdered. She was poisoned.
Why do you say that?
Because my mother's heart was as strong as yours. She was murdered. And he signed the death certificate himself, and when I demanded an autopsy, he refused.
Who is he?
Oh, don't you know? Everybody knows. Everybody in the world knows that they were more than doctor and patient. Everybody knows.
Doctor who, Miss O'Neill?
Dr. Charles Cypress.
Yes, I've heard of Dr. Cypress. Isn't he a reputable doctor?
Oh, yes, he's reputable. But he poisoned my mother.
Now, Miss O'Neill, why would Dr. Cypress want to poison your mother?
Her will. Her will. She made him her executor. She left her art collection to him. He was tired of her and he wanted her money.
Miss, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Why didn't your mother leave her collection to you?
Me?
Yes, ma'am. You're over age. I should think...
You must know. Everybody knows. Don't you know about me?
Know what, miss?
I'm insane.
You say Dr. Cypress refused an autopsy?
Yes, he flatly refused.
Mm-hmm. Where is the funeral, Miss O'Neill?
Waterside Parlor, 2 o'clock. Everybody will be there. But I'll know she was poisoned.
All right, we'll take you there.
Venushka, where have you been? We've been searching and looking. They don't believe me. These gentlemen, who are these gentlemen?
I'm Charles Morgan, Assistant District Attorney. This is Detective Joe Russell.
Venice, baby darling, go sit with the others. Let Uncle Mitya talk to them. It's terrible, terrible. She's breaking my heart.
Are you her uncle?
No. Everybody calls Mitya Obliensky Uncle Mitya. Obliensky Galleries, 57th Street. Poor Thimble was to have her finest exhibit tomorrow. Instead, her funeral today.
Did the girl tell you her mother was poisoned?
Of course. Oh, hysteria, despair, wildness. It's impossible. I was there. It was in my gallery, before my very own eyes.
Why do you say impossible?
We were all there. How could such a thing happen? I was there, Venice was there, Mrs. Cypress was there, and all of a sudden, it hurts. The hand to the chest, the smile to the lips, then gone. Right there.
And Dr. Cypress?
There, I tell you, right there.
Is the doctor here now?
Everybody is here. Why?
I'd like to speak to him.
Of course. I'll bring him. I'll get him.
You want a motive? Obolensky has one.
Oh, how so?
Guy handled the artist's stuff. Like stamps and collectors. Fewer of an issue of stamps, the more value. Fewer of a painter's work, ditto. No more O'Neill? No more O'Neills. You're a drool.
Dr. Cypress?
Yes. Mr. Morgan, I believe?
That's right. A few questions, sir.
Oh, by all means.
What did Mrs. O'Neill die of, Dr. Cypress? What was the cause of death?
Why, heart disease, of course. Thrombosis.
How did you know?
Well, it was perfectly clear. She had coronary arterial sclerosis for years. If you come to my office, Mr. Morgan, I'll show you Mrs. O'Neill's electrocardiograms for the last 15 years. Oh, as a matter of fact, you may have already seen some of my work.
Oh, where, sir?
Monographs on police medicine, methods of postmortem diagnosis in heart conditions.
I see. Tell me, Dr. Cypress, Miss O'Neill, Mr. Obensky, you and your wife were all present when the attack occurred?
That is correct. You see that elderly woman over there?
I was wondering about her. She picked a fine time to knit at a funeral service.
Well, my wife always knits, or sews, or darns. The first day I met her on duty as a nurse in Edinburgh, she was sewing. And I'd never seen her without a bit of work in her hands.
Well, I'd like to speak to her later. I'd also like to accept your offer, Doctor. I want to see those electrocardiograms.
Yes, of course. It's very kind of you to be doing this for Venice. Makes her feel much better. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to see if I can persuade her to take a sedative.
Well, what do you think, Joe? Was there a murder?
I don't think so. While you were chatting with Uncle Obolensky, I talked with Venice some more. Found out her mother had nothing to eat that whole day but black coffee, for which they sent out.
Yeah, rules out poison.
So?
Just the same, Joe, I want to talk to the undertaker. Tell him to stop the burial.
What?
The girl is entitled to an autopsy. The doctor was too anxious to make a case for the heart condition and his own reputability as a specialist. I want a postmortem before tomorrow morning. Now, where's the telephone?
In just a moment, we will return for the second act of Suspense.
Hola, amigo. You want to know about stereo phonographs? Listen to my last bullfight on ordinary stereo. Ole! But now, Columbia Stereo 1. There is a corrida de toros, real, lifelike, magnifica. There is such a big difference in stereo phonographs. With most, all you get is a couple of speakers shooting in different directions. But with Columbia, hombre, you get fantastic stereo projection. What it does is to send circles of sound sweeping through every inch of a room. You are surrounded with live sound, live feeling, live passion. Ole! Ole! How they cheered me. Ask your Columbia phonograph dealer to demonstrate Stereo 1 by Columbia. Prices start as low as $39.95 for portables, $129.95 for consoles. Hey, picador! Who let the ball out?
Hello? Dr. Wyman?
Oh, speaking.
Doctor, I want you to arrange to secure the body of a woman for an autopsy. Thimble O'Neill, age 55.
Great painter. Greatest woman painter since Rosa Bonheur.
You know her?
I know her work. She dropped dead in the Oblensky Gallery, didn't she?
Yeah. What do you know about Dr. Charles Cypress?
He's a good man on cardiology.
Private life?
Delayed adolescent playboy. Lives high.
Tell me more.
Oh, gambling, women, the usual.
Any connection between him and the lady painter?
Oh, that I wouldn't know. I know very little about live people. Why?
Well, seems he refused a relative's request for an autopsy.
Well, he's the doctor in the case. I think you'll find that his diagnosis will stand up.
That could be. Just the same, I want you to do this post-mortem yourself.
Okay, I'll do the PM. I always wanted to meet O'Neill. Great painter. Terrific technique with the palette knife. Goodbye.
Mr. McCormick, I see you've come to see the chart.
Yes, Doctor. Yes, I have.
All right, fine. Mr. Morgan, this is my wife, Mrs. Cypress.
How do you do?
Do you need me, sir? I'll just sit with the poor girl a bit.
Oh, Dr. Cypress has given her a sedative, Mrs. Cypress. I'd like you to stay.
I'll do that, sir. You can mind if I get on with my sewing.
Not at all. I understand you carry it with you wherever you go.
I wouldn't have been me if I didn't. They say something's wrong with me without a bit of sewing in my hand.
Here are Mrs. O'Neill's charts.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I see you have them in chronological order.
Mm-hmm. You understand them?
Well, frankly, sir, I only know that an electrocardiogram gives a symbolic representation of the functioning of the heart.
Well put. Now, this line here, the spikes made by the tracing pen are the systole, the domes, the diastole. Now here you see a cardiogram taken after Mrs. O'Neill's first heart attack 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. You can see the variation, Mr. Morgan. Here, and right here.
Here, this looks like another severe attack.
Well, you have a very good eye, Mr. Morgan.
They ranged over a period of 12 years.
Yes.
Why didn't you tell Venice about her mother's heart condition?
The poor girl and her troubles are and would be adding worries to her poor sick mind, sir.
My wife has spoken for me, Mr. Morgan.
I see. Tell me, Mrs. Cypress, did you ever nurse Venice?
Aye.
That would be professionally?
Because when she was having delusions and persecutions, and till the time the poor lass was sent away for institutional care, many's the night I stayed with her to calm her fears.
Just one more question, Doctor, and I believe we'll be through. You were made executor of Mrs. O'Neill's estate, and as I understand it, she willed you her art collection. Now, I can understand the executorship, but why did Mrs. O'Neill leave you her art collection?
Sir, I can explain the cause of that, if you don't mind.
Please, Mrs. Cypress.
The girl hated pictures. There was a night I was caring for her when she broke away from me and slashed about the studio with a knife, destroying her mother's canvases in rage and hatred.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think I've taken up enough of your time, but I may have to call upon you for grand jury appearances. I want to go over the material I discussed with you today. You'll hear from me.
Seen the papers?
Don't tell me, let me guess.
D.A. false funeral, foul play fear. Artist funeral is called off by district attorney. Autopsy ordered in mystery death.
Okay, Joe, you made your points.
What are you going to do?
Well, grand jury sits at 3. I'm going to have all the witnesses in here one by one before we go in. And you and I are going to go over their stories right up to the last minute. Because if Dr. Weinman doesn't come up with something, we're liable to end up with nothing.
In just a moment, we will return for the concluding act of Suspense.
Welcome, recording star Mel Torme.
It's terrible trying to sing with a bad cold. So I always take 4-way cold tablets to relieve cold miseries fast.
Good idea. Tests of all the leading cold tablets proved 4-way fastest acting. 4-way starts in minutes to relieve muscular pains, headache, reduce fever, calm upset stomach, also overcomes irregularity.
When you catch cold, try my way. Take 4-way cold tablets. Fast way to relieve cold distress and feel better quickly.
4-way, only 29 cents.
Our program will continue in a moment after a word about another fine product of Grove Laboratories. Had dandruff for years? Now get rid of it in 3 minutes with Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. 3 minutes with Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep unsightly dandruff away forever. Apply Fitch before wetting hair. Rub in 1 minute. Add water. Lather 1 minute. Then rinse 1 minute. Every trace of dandruff goes down the drain. 3 minutes with Fitch, embarrassing dandruff's gone. Fitch can also leave hair up to 35% brighter. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today.
Everybody outside, Joe?
Except Dr. Weinman. He said he'd be a little late.
How come?
I was telling him about the job you made me do calling off the ceremonies. I was telling him how Mrs. Cypress went right on sewing, and he jumped like he'd been shot.
Did he say anything?
Just Mahmoud.
Yeah. All right, we'll stall till he gets here. Look, I'll tell you what. Let's talk to Uncle Mitya Oblensky. I want to get the time element of this straight.
Sure. Mr. Mitya Oblensky. Yes, Mr. Morgan. What is it, Mr. Morgan?
Mr. Oblensky, I merely want to clarify one item. The time. Checking your statements, I find that you are the only person who was certain of the exact time Mrs. O'Neill put her hand to her chest and said that...
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
And then so little smile, then gone. How I know it is 7 minutes to 11?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Very simple. We are hanging portrait of a girl in blue.
Yeah, go on. No, wait. Who's we?
The doctor is on the ladder. He holds actually the picture. On the floor, myself, standing to one side. Next to me, Venice. Right in front of the picture, Temple O'Neill. Next to her, Mrs. Cypress.
What was she there for?
With her needle and thread, perhaps a hanging has to be moved, a stitch here, a stitch there.
Yeah, that's what she said. Go on.
In fact, not just 5 minutes before, she has sewed a tear in some velvet surrounding a little obstruction. Very handy to have around a new woman, no?
Yeah, the time, Mr. Oblensky. How do you know the time?
Very simple. When Mrs. Cypress dropped her Thimble.
Yeah, go on.
Well, just as we get the blue girl properly home, she drops the Thimble. I get on my knees to pick it up from under the table. I look across the room as I come out from the table under, and I look at the clock. 7 minutes to 11.
And at that moment, Mrs. O'Neill died.
Precisely. As I'm going on my hands and knees after the Thimble, she is taken.
Okay, thank you. Please wait outside with the others.
Mr. Morgan, Doc Wyman's here. The grand jury's ready.
Look, ask him for a few more minutes, Grace, huh? Morning, Doctor. What do you got?
Well, Dr. Cypress was right. Mrs. O'Neill had an advanced sclerotic condition of the heart area. It was entirely proper for her physician to infer that death had been caused by coronary occlusion.
So then she wasn't poisoned.
No,
No case, huh? You want me to finish? Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you ask Mrs. Cypress why she did it? Mrs. Cypress? Sure, call her in. Tell her you know how, and then ask her why. Then you can go in and ask for a murder one indictment. Well, maybe you know how, but I don't. The cause of death was a small, sharp instrument thrust through the nape of the neck into the medulla oblongata, a portion of the brain governing the respiratory tract. How do you know that? I found the instrument lodged in the brain. It was a needle. When Russell told me the old girl had a habit, a compulsion, habit of sewing all the time. Listen to this, Joe. Go ahead, Doctor. I then found the hole in the back of Mrs. O'Neill's skull. Wait, I just came in. Of course. The thimble. Joe, go out and get Mrs. Cypress. Mrs. And tell her to bring her sewing. Mrs. Cypress, you sewed some black velvet, didn't you?
Oh, yes, sir. Frame in the picture, yes?
And velvet is soft.
Very soft, sir.
Would you need a thimble for that?
No, sir.
But you would need a thimble to force a heavy darning needle through human flesh. And as a nurse, you would know the medulla oblongata was one place such a thrust could cause instant death. And in your constant companion, your sewing kit, you could hide the weapon. Come on, Mrs. Cypress, the grand jury is waiting. I'd like to have your story.
You cannot prove it, sir.
Oh, Mrs. Cypress, I think you know better than that.
I strongly doubt you can prove it.
Nothing would be simpler. You can read this autopsy report for yourself at the bottom of the page. The needle was found by Dr. Weinman in the medulla. Death was instantaneous. Now, the needle could have been thrust into her brain only by the person standing next to her.
There were 4 persons in the room.
Only one had a thimble. All right, Mrs. Cypress. What do you want to do?
Sir, what would you do if you saw the man you married on the other side change before your eyes and grow too great for his old love? What would you do when the poor fair lassie blurted out the story of her own mother's affairs with your own husband? What would you do if you knew the one who stole him away from you had a condition of the heart, and your own husband, being a physician, there was a likelihood of death being ascribed to that ailment and passing without notice, what with the death certificate and all? And you had the means of taking him back from her forever and keeping him once you told him the truth and her buried and forgotten. What would you do, Mr. Morgan?
I wouldn't murder her, Mrs. Cypress.
Well, I did.
All right, Mrs. Cypress. Let's go into the grand jury.
Oh, Mr. Morgan, will you not wait till the doctor brings back my sewing kit? I'm lost without it.
I'm afraid we're going to have to keep you away from needles. For a long time, ma'am. A very long time.
Suspense. You've been listening to The Thimble, a story by Eliezer Lipsky, written for Suspense by Alan Sloan. In a moment, the names of our players and a word about next week's story of Suspense. Are you all out of tune because you're irregular? Then help yourself get back in tune with Kellogg's All Brand. You'll feel right on pitch when Kellogg's All Brand goes gently to work. Relieves constipation due to lack of bulk by supplying your system with bulk-forming whole bran. Yes, a daily bowl full of Kellogg's All Bran with milk
helps put you right back in tune. The natural way. The good-tasting way, too. Fact is, Kellogg's All-Bran is the one brand cereal that combines proved effectiveness with appetizing taste and crispness. It never gets mushy in milk. So remember, if constipation's a problem, gentle it away, as millions do, with Kellogg's All-Bran. The good food way to keep regular as clockwork. ALL-BRAN. Kellogg's All-Bran. At your grocers.
Heard in tonight's story were Whitfield Connor, Kerry Keene, Paul McGrath, Joe DeSantis, Danny Ocko, Maurice Toplan, Ruth Tobin, and Jane Rose. Listen again next week when we return with the classic story of nature's imbalance. On one side, the frightful Formicidae doralini ants, and on the other, a man who knew no fear. The story, Leiningen versus the Ants. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. On CBS Radio.